good. It looks like we're live. Get some people in here. We're definitely gonna talk about EA announcing a new Star Wars game. Apparently,
Fuck EA.
Apparently, it's a game. I wasn't quite sure watching the trailer.
I heard it got. Was it actually out? I heard it got leaked originally.
I didn't know anything about that.
No, they put out a little teaser about it.
I know they put out
EA
a
did.
2-minute CGI trailer. I'm guessing somebody's been working on for months.
Yeah.
And it's
maybe weeks.
It's completely. I don't even know if I want to show it.
Why would you start the podcast talking about these guys?
Because it's fun to rip. Should I show it, or is they not worth?
Well, I mean, you might get the video copyrighted.
Yeah, if I
I'm
mute
gonna
it,
guess it won't be on Switch.
There's nothing to show. Some trash ass wobbly trailer.
I wanted to try to
I
break
didn't even
down.
look at the teaser once I saw you guys ranting about it in the chat.
It's nice artwork.
I want to break down what we think the game what this trailer actually tells us about the game. Like if we can try to predict what kind of game it is.
It's got X-wings and TIE fighters in it.
Mm-hmm.
So
X-wing versus TIE Fighter.
Honestly, I think it was Alex put it in Discord. I clicked it, and I honestly had no idea. Is this a game? Squadrons tells me it's a game, but I mean, is this a new series? Like, I'm sitting there watching this, like, no fucking clue. I'll just wait. All right, well, maybe they'll switch to gameplay, and no, never happened.
I believe this is the last year of their deal, so I hope Disney does not renew that shit.
Because
you know, a part of me hates that they've taken the Squadron name as well. It just
they're just trying to get off of obviously.
Yeah, of course.
Just like 007. What was it? GoldenEye.
Yeah, they tried
remaster returns or whatever that shit is. Get that shit out of here.
What's up, Mr. True? I almost said Ms. True. Mr. True. He said he's finally able to listen live. So welcome to the live. Rocky, Lenny Wright, and yourself, AL. Dalajan?
You can just say Yusuf.
Yeah, Yusuf. So
GoldenEye with Daniel Craig. Get that shit out of here.
That shit hurt, man. That shit hurt.
I mean, I disagree with
that game on GameCube.
I disagree with RetroDeath that these character models are worse than in-game Spider-Man character models. I mean, it's decent CGI work. I mean,
I don't know, man.
No, it's not. Come on, let's not cut any corners now with this shit. Let's not do it.
I mean, it's better than the animated series, the Clone Wars, as far as just. I'm not saying artistically. I'm just saying.
It's a cartoon. No, I don't mean
what?
No, just like on a technical level. I haven't seen the last few seasons. So maybe it's gotten way better. But just saying, this isn't like the shoddiest CGI I've ever seen.
Yeah, but even if we don't agree that it's the shoddiest CGI, it's not that good, I think. But I mean, who came up? Okay, we need a new fucking trailer for a new Star Wars game we're gonna do. Okay, how about we show an X-wing? It's like, fuck off, come on, what is this? You see an X-wing and then you see like a TIE fighter and they fight and shit. It's like it's nothing. It's nothing.
It looks like those Battlefront character models, which I mean, have this kind of doll quality.
Yeah, they do look very doll-like. I do agree.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys think this game? Unless you've read about it, then just stay quiet. I have no idea. What my guess is this is some kind of 5v5 online only type game, just based on the trailer.
I think it's been confirmed as 5v5, and then it has a story mode as well.
Okay. Well, if you know about it, then
did we just get kicked off?
I don't think
so. It says Streamhouse Green.
Really?
I have it muted, so I guess it would have to go off.
Because I was watching. Oh, never mind.
Okay.
That's weird.
Well, if you know what the details are, I guess.
Let me tell you what happened.
What?
I thought I was because I'm on my phone,
but
I'm also on my smart TV, so I'm watching the stream that way.
Yeah.
And I clicked on, and I thought it was the footage but it was actually the commercial or the actual it was a commercial of the video for Squadrons.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm like, why is it going away?
That's weird.
What?
It was a commercial before the podcast. Was a commercial for Squadrons for you?
Yeah, when I clicked on this podcast, it was a commercial for Squadrons. I was like,
All right, so has anybody not read anything about this? Because I thought it might be fun to predict.
No, I've read a bit.
All right, so I want you to stay quiet then, because I want to try to guess based on the CGI trailer if they've conveyed at least what this game's supposed to be.
Well, my guess is not really based off the CGI trailer. It's more based off the title of the CGI trailer, or the title of what it's called. You know, they say like Star Wars Rogue Squadrons, and it's kind of like what you guys said. It's like maybe they tried to get like Rogue Squadron and they couldn't, because that's kind of what they want to do. So let's call it Squadrons, because then people really know what it is without saying what it is. So my guess is that they're just trying to make a legit new Rogue Squadron game without actually being able to pull it.
Yeah, because somebody might have the rights to Rogue Squadron, but
Factory 5 might still have it. Who knows?
I kind of get the feeling. I don't know if Terrell, if you've looked it up or not. My guess is
I'm literally me watching the trailer on your stream is the first time I'm saying anything about it.
I'm guessing they're gonna have these pre-existing cast of characters, like that's the new thing now with the Overwatches and the Apex Legends, where you'll have these pre-built characters that are gonna have different abilities that each person's gonna select from. That's my guess. I have no idea, based on the trailer they showed, and it's not like they have a lot of personality or anything going on in the trailer, but I kind of think that's the new thing to do, and I feel like they're going to do that. And then
they'll charge you DLC for each of the characters.
I'd be surprised. Clock, you already kind of said it, but I was not expecting any kind of story, any kind of single player. I was just thinking multiplayer only, like a Fortnite that's like a drop in, drop out battle royale kind of thing, but with 5v5 maybe it's a little more involved. But so that's what the trailer told me based on what I saw. And I don't know, what do you think, Terrell?
I mean, that seems like a fair assessment. Realistically, I can't see. Unfortunately, I'm not a Star Wars guy to begin with, so it's kind of hard because I don't have as much knowledge about the series. But it literally just seems like kind of like a fan service game.
Translation: I don't give a shit.
But hey, listen. Hey man, you can't be out here exposing people like this.
Hey, as a fan, I don't give a shit.
Okay. Damn. Tell me how you really. Jesus Christ.
So
I mean, it just looks like it literally looks like a game, an easy way to like stick a bunch of well-known characters together, and then have this game where like, oh look, you can play as all your favorites.
But they don't have any. They don't show any well-known characters. They show all generic.
No, I'm saying the potential is there.
NPCs. Oh yeah, you're playing as.
The potential is there. Like, oh, you have your own creative character.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure. I'm judging by the ships. I can't quite tell if this is supposed to be the current trilogy era or prequel.
It's definitely it's definitely classic trilogy.
You think so? I don't know. The X-Wings look a little different to me.
I've been told to shut up, so I can't say anything.
Okay, now it's done with the predicting part. Did they say what era this takes place in?
Yeah, it takes place just after Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
Thank you. I mean, I'm a fan, so I could spot.
So just like they did with Battlefront 2, which took place right after, at the power vacuum of the Empire. That was that 5-hour story or whatever.
So kind of like The Mandalorian time period.
I guess I haven't seen
about when that's set.
Are you asking me? Sorry.
I think I'm just
stating it. I'm stating it. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't see that show yet, so I didn't know that was the era that.
Yeah, it's set after Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
So, I think 5 years even.
I see it's #1 trending. I don't know if that's just in gaming, the gaming trending on YouTube, or overall. On that video, it said #1 trending.
Well, Star Wars.
It's probably gaming.
It's Star Wars.
Star Wars Twitter themselves tweeted it as well.
So what do you think? Did they do a CGI trailer just to try to garner some interest from just Star Wars fans who maybe aren't gamers, or do you?
They have confirmed that gameplay's coming on Thursday.
Okay.
So it's not have to wait too long. This is just a teaser.
Why do you think they led with a CGI trailer? You think that's just?
I don't know.
You think that's what gamers want to see, or?
Is that EA event soon or something like that?
I mean, at this point, gaming technology has evolved far enough. I mean, say what you want about the new Battlefront game. They look really fucking good. If they have gameplay coming on Thursday, there's literally nothing. They couldn't show all these clips exactly the way they are, just as gameplay. Like, what's the point? I just don't see the point in having a CGI, unoriginal, boring-ass trailer, first of all. I mean, I like the shot with the starship coming out of the clouds and shit. That's kind of nice. But I mean, the whole trailer was just two sides walking to a ship flying, in a straight fucking goddamn line. Literally a straight fucking line. It's like, I just don't see the point if you have gameplay coming next day. But what we can do now, you can make a much more exciting trailer with gameplay, especially if like what Clockton says true, and like in a few days we get the gameplay. I don't see the point.
Yeah, like here's the thing though. Like this is going to be niche, like because Battlefront is one thing because it it's like Battlefield. Your characters running around first person shooter, right? Or is it third person? I can't remember.
First and third, I think.
First and third. All right. So that's more commercial because everybody plays Call of Duty. Everybody plays those type of games. Mm-hmm. But this is a space fighter. You're in a ship. This is going to be a little different get to a mainstream audience. I mean, that was one of the problems, quote unquote, problems with Rogue Squadron not selling as well as it probably should have. Like it was a beautiful game, great game for GameCube. It should have sold GameCubes, but it didn't because it was a ship fighter game, and those aren't commercial. Those aren't as big as a guy on feet, shooting different types of guns, Battlefield style. So
yeah, I always felt like because of the classic Super Star Wars, Super Empire Strikes Back, had the mixture, and then there was the N64 game, which I didn't love. It had the Battle of Endor, or not Endor, but Hoth. But then it was just that. What the hell was the name of that? With the new character that they put a ship in the special edition of Star Wars. The hell is that game called on the N64?
Oh, Dash Rendar.
Yeah. Didn't that have the Battle of Hoth in the
Shadows
beginning?
of the Empire?
Yeah, and then it was like just a completely kind of third person action adventure, and had a few other ship moments. And I've always felt like we haven't got it. I didn't play the original Battlefront 2s back in the day, but I always felt like I wanted that Star Wars adventure third person, maybe, back before 3D. I probably didn't think about it in 3D, but with the ship stuff included, like together in one game, and it just seems like they do one or the other. They do.
Well, that's what Shadows of the Empire was.
I was just going to say that one. Yeah.
And Rogue Squadron, Rogue Leader too.
Rogue Leader, yeah, but no, everybody hated it. I hate the on foot stuff. So it's
I mean we talk about this with Star Fox, don't we? It's kind of like when you get two genres and you try and put them together, something's got to buckle somewhere for the most part. It's very rare when you get them both right. But I mean, we've had great single player Star Wars games. We've had great ones with a mix that just got some funky stuff in there. But we've had loads of great Avengers, Star Wars games.
You have a PC, maybe.
Yeah. Well, you say that, but even on consoles, we
Super Star Wars and shit.
Yeah, you can go back to like stuff like
those are like side-scrolling shooters. They weren't like adventure games.
KOTOR.
No, we had like speeder segments and that kind of shit. Millennium Falcon segments.
Yeah,
but I'm saying they weren't adventure games.
Commando,
they were like
Republic Commando on the original Xbox and stuff. We've had more. I feel like with this game, because it's EA, I just need to wait to see it. I mean, the concept of this is what we want for Star Fox, basically a 5 versus 5. Here we go. Here's your Star Fox team. There's a Star Wolf team. Have some backup, from the line.
Well, that's part of what we want. That to be the single.
Has some great dogfights in our favorite space battles around Endor and stuff like this. It could be great, but just because it's EA and then they show it off with some underwhelming trailer for the concept that's not new. It's just like, come on guys, you can show us the game by now. The game should for the most part look like this anyway, based off what the recent Battlefront games
I'd expect the game to look stunning. All the Star Wars games, even the first Battlefront, which wasn't great, but it still looked amazing.
They look great.
Mm-hmm.
So it's strange anyway, because it's like what Clark did just said with like Battlefront 2. You have dogfight missions in Battlefront 2 that look really good. So if they bring something new, it's gonna have to be completely different than what they did in Battlefront already, which basically was player versus player spaceship battles.
It didn't have a whole lot.
Gonna have to be.
Yeah. I think the campaign in this will just be just your typical missions that you'll play your co-op with with friends and stuff, to protect this, this frigate, from the enemy fighters, and then you go off, and then the frigate, gets saved or destroyed, and then you'll see like the Empire side of it, or you'll see the Rebel side of it and stuff like that. Like,
I actually love the fact that it's set after Return of the Jedi, because it's like, they blew up the Death Star, Palpatine's dead, Darth Vader's dead, but there's still a lot of people running around in stormtrooper uniforms and shit. Like, it's not over.
Even that's not new, because that was the story of the
that was in the books and stuff too. But
on the N64.
Well, that was in the books as well, but that's why I really liked it. But I just don't think EA is going to do a whole lot with it. That's just,
and they're going
to set their game in it, but that's about it.
It's a $40 game, so that tells me
$40
EA
game.
that it's probably more like a free-to-play style game. To them, that's probably $40. To us, a lot of people, that'd be a free-to-play style.
And you can upgrade your ships and stuff, and supposedly you could do this all with in-game, gameplay or whatever.
Oh, yeah. If you play for 10,000 hours, you probably can have a Millennium Falcon.
Based off everything that EA has done, and with Star Wars as well, you can all you can do is wait, and there's no hope, there's no excitement.
There's no hope.
You wait to see what it is. It's not a new hope. Anything like that. It's just.
And I think that there's probably a big side of people who buy video games, whether or not we would consider them casuals or they would consider themselves hardcore, probably, that see that CGI stuff and get super excited. But if the gameplay is coming on Thursday and the game's coming out in October, I mean, you should just be bug testing basically at this point.
Here's it. To me, from my perspective anyway, you have to be a Star Wars fan to care about this game. Because it's, like I said, it's ship flying. I mean, you're not going to get most casuals to do that. So you got to be a Star Wars fan, and you got to like this whole co-op thing online. That's going to be a small market, I think. I don't know.
I think a bunch of people probably buy it and just but not play it. But not play it.
I think even as Star Wars fans, though, because you saw the ships and stuff, but the characters you saw were like generic as fuck. I don't remember it because I saw the trailer once this afternoon, but it looked like, I don't know, white dudes and an alien.
They look generic as hell.
Like nothing.
So here, let me rephrase it then. You gotta be a Star Wars fan. You also gotta like online co-op games. And you also got to not give a shit. There's no real cool Star Wars characters in it.
There might be a Millennium Falcon flyby at some point. In a mission.
It's definitely going to be that. I'll call that right now. They love to put the
another thing as well, because if it is taking place, whether it's like just after these events we've or what have you, we've kind of how many times have we experienced the trench run? How many times have we experienced flying the Yavin? How many times have we experienced, flying, over and through the Death Star? I mean, we've done all that in like Rogue Squadron and Rogue Leader and stuff, and it's still staggering today. And don't get me wrong, these games will look, stunning, but it needs to. We can't just have a co-op Star Wars game that we've played before.
It's got to have a good story. It has to have a good story.
It's got to have some
level design.
Yeah,
and it probably won't be. I mean, I don't think they need Jedis if the setting's just flying ships and dogfights and stuff. But there wouldn't be any Jedis really, at that point.
No, there aren't any Jedis. There's only one.
So you don't have the Force, so it's like that's like half of Star Wars missing.
Well, I mean, the Rogue Squadron didn't have the Force either. You don't have to have that for a dogfighting
at least
game.
We're just getting another spaceship game, a Star Wars spaceship focused game by the sounds of that's something that we haven't had for a while. I think the last one I played was back on the GameCube and the PS2. I remember getting Starfighter as Star Wars. Yeah, Starfighter is one of my first PS2 games. I enjoyed it for what it was. It was no Rogue Leader.
Yeah, it was all right. I was gonna say it was all right.
Yeah, it was your early PS2 game. You played it, and it's still kind of fresh, and looking good for those eras. But you don't go back to that when you go back to Rogue Leader.
Right.
I was feeling a little
That smooth,
fatigued.
buttery 60 frames per second.
When that was one of the launch games I bought. So I had Super Monkey Ball. Was it Rogue Leader? Was that Rogue Squadron 2?
Yeah, Rogue Leader, Rogue Squadron.
And
2.
then I bought Madden 2002 or
Yeah.
3, whatever. Yeah,
I think we had the same launch games.
And I rinsed, as Clockett would say, I rinsed that game at least 10 times, I would say.
I got you all saying rinsed.
Maybe not 10,
got me
but
saying that shit too.
at some point I was already feeling the trench run fatigue. Even the last few times I played that game, and we've seen it I don't know how many times since then, but it's just like that's the problem with Star Wars. It's like if you go outside of the known characters and stuff, then people aren't that interested. But if you keep retelling or keep taking place in the same eras, then it gets less and less interesting. And it's hard to come up with a completely original story like The Mandalorian. They had to throw Baby Yoda in there just to get something for people to attach themselves.
I don't think they had to do that either. I was a little bit actually.
Well, they felt
when they first threw Baby Yoda in there, I was a little annoyed. I was like, "Come on, we didn't need Baby Yoda." But I mean, he's fine now. But that show didn't need Baby Yoda. They just felt like they did, I guess.
And I would say, give us a Mandalorian game. We had, like I mentioned earlier, Bounty Hunter.
There you go. Why wouldn't we have a Mandalorian game?
And then you open yourself up to a bit more something unique in terms of giving that character a lot of move sets to move around the environment. Especially with modern tech now, with what you can do. With grappling hooks and jetpacks and all that stuff, and actually do bounties, through a futuristic city and stuff. Give us.
Yeah, I mean, I like Bounty Hunter. Remember Bounty Hunter?
And if you want to be EA and add multiplayer to it, then that's another perfect type of game to add multiplayer to. If you
can add multiplayer easily to that game.
All right, well, that's enough EA talk, I think.
Yeah.
So on Friday I was at work and we had I don't know if it was the 90s station on. We have Sirius XM, and it was a dance song that sounds a lot like the theme to Mortal Kombat. I don't know if you guys know which one it is. Without hearing them one right after the other, me and a guy at work swore they were the same song. One it's like they just added the Mortal Kombat lyrics, the words, the Sonya, Johnny Cage, to it. They're a little bit different, but it's to the point where it could be plagiarism. I don't know which one came first.
Well, 90s club beats, they all sound the same.
Yeah. But so I looked it up on YouTube and I was like, yeah, it's a little bit different. And I was like, God damn, I haven't seen this movie in 20 years. So I looked it up. It's on Netflix. So
I just watched it.
I watched it
for here right now.
I watched it for the first time.
What film was this like? What film was this like?
Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat.
It's the first time I've seen it since probably since I've turned 21. So
wow,
19 years, 20 years,
and for me.
I mean the nostalgia was great. I ain't gonna lie, it's the nostalgia. I remember the opening night being in the theater. I think the cheer moment was when Reptile comes to life and starts fighting.
Oh, everybody was going crazy in my theater.
Still the best fight in the movie.
And but as somebody who's since then watched a shit ton of like Jet Li movies and stuff over the years, Jackie Chan, I had a huge Jet Li collection on DVD. I still have it, but probably like 25 movies, some of his old stuff, dubbed. And I was a little disappointed. The fight choreography on some of the fights was pretty lacking. I forgot who directed it too.
Oh yeah,
Paul Anderson.
Now, right? Okay, yeah.
And then the forced flawless victory line about 3 different times, but
and sometimes it's not even a flawless victory.
No, it's like it told me that the writers and the director didn't know what flawless victory meant. They just thought it sounded cool. It's like
he had no idea.
He took about 20 hits. How's that a flawless victory? And Liu Kang says it. But I don't know.
I'll be in the theater like.
To be fair, you're talking about choreography between like masters like Jet Li and like I'm a huge Jean-Claude Van Damme fan, but the only choreography in that movie that's like martial arts is they put Jean-Claude Van Damme in there because he could do the fucking split.
Talking about Street Fighter?
That's what he's talking about Street Fighter.
He's talking about Street Fighter, not Mortal Kombat.
Get on top.
Kombat.
Who was Thingy done in the movie?
There was pretty much
Johnny Cage is based on Jean-Claude Van Damme. The character Johnny Cage is.
There's
Van
like
Damme did not play him in
And
the movie.
I
fucking
couldn't
Mandela
tell.
effect or some shit.
Watching this movie the other day, I never thought about this when I was younger. I couldn't tell if the Johnny Cage guy was a martial artist who they tried to make him an actor, or an actor who they tried to make him be a martial artist. It was both. Sometimes I'd see some moves. I'm like, if that was that guy, then yeah, he's definitely a martial artist who's trying to be an actor. But
you mean the actual actor himself?
yeah, the actor who played Johnny Cage, and I didn't look it up. And do you guys, any of you know, and do you have any thoughts on if he?
What was his name? It's like Lyndon or something.
I have no idea.
I don't know, but he didn't look like a martial artist. He looked like an actor trying to do martial arts.
I can't remember if he was.
I kind of felt like he wasn't. The fact that he wasn't a great actor.
I think he might have been. I would say he is, because even though the choreography in like the Scorpion fight isn't that good, he still has a good on-screen presence in terms of his kicks and stuff.
Yeah.
So he definitely has. He must have.
But I thought he was really good at playing Johnny Cage. Like he embodied Johnny Cage. Yeah. He was perfect. So that's why I thought maybe he was an actor.
And it was pretty laughable.
I'll Google him now.
Seeing the actress that played Sonya take on
this
huge Kano, and she's got
that was embarrassing.
The weakest, arms and stuff. She's tiny, and she's doing like this backhand punch, and then kills him with her calves of all her leg muscles. It would have been her thighs, not her calves. She probably didn't want to have her thighs around his, face or something for obvious reasons.
That's quite unbelievable. Even back then, I was like,
but it's just funny to go that long without seeing a movie or something. And the other movie I watched the next day I hadn't seen in probably 20 years. I've never owned it in my life. Was Top Gun, and I picked that up, and that's still a good movie. I ain't gonna lie. Top
Gun is great.
There's a few I guess 80s things that maybe don't hold up, but overall I was like, man, that's a pretty good film. And they did a
perfectly paced, great soundtrack.
Lyndon Ashby plays Johnny Cage, and he is a martial artist.
Okay.
Oh, he is. Okay, there you go.
They didn't really showcase his martial arts much. I just don't think they had a good fight choreographer. That's because they didn't.
Yeah, I think the fight choreography was the problem.
And Scorpion
said in the chat. Vizor said, that the setting when he's fighting Scorpion, when he's in the forest and stuff, that was freaking awesome. But the fight, the fight. This is why I rate the reptile fight with Liu Kang as the best one, because it's quite fast. They speed up some parts of it, but they show some connects and stuff, and some over the top backflips and moves and stuff, and it's just you get the music in there as well. The music's hype as well.
But the Scorpion,
they did a lot of fan service too with the Scorpion beginning of the Scorpion fight.
But it was so dumb to have Scorpion just sits there motionless, and the thing comes out. Yeah. And then it's like going all through the bamboo. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, just.
And I was thinking Goro too. Goro was right out of the video game.
Goro was done really well. The animatronic was done. But then the Sub-Zero, he just sits there, builds up this ice ball for what, 30, 40 seconds while Liu Kang
30, 40 minutes
swings a bucket.
The thing is, like you said, nostalgia wise, I just can't hate the film. I can watch it and I'll enjoy it every single time.
It's so disappointing that Scorpion and Sub-Zero were just ruined. They didn't get anything really cool happen. There wasn't any really good fight with them, and it's like maybe they didn't.
What's the princess? What's her name?
Katana.
Everybody was in love with her.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Gorgeous.
But like you say that now, but as a kid, I remember the scene. Like one of my favorite scenes is just when I don't remember who the main guy. I think it was Shang Tsung, and I don't remember. But he's calling Scorpion and Sub-Zero. They come out from behind and that kind of shit and stuff. I see that, and I was like, as a kid, that's what I wanted to see. Like when you're that young, you don't really think about the greatest choreography. I mean, most of that movie just people
Sub-Zero didn't even fight
away from kicks and shit, But as a kid, like you don't care.
Yeah, but Sub-Zero didn't even fight him.
But they looked really good though. Like they looked exactly like what you imagine them to look like.
Yeah, I mean, because think about it, if it was a real fight, Scorpion and Sub-Zero would have killed everybody. Let's be real.
Yeah.
So they had to do. They had to nerf them,
But
keep it as a movie.
And the final thing is, I noticed. I knew they were making in Australia or New Zealand. They've been making a new one, and I was like, it seemed like it had. From what I heard, it had a pretty sizable budget, like 180 million or something. So I was just looking up video game movies just to see how many there have been, and they have
180 million.
I think so.
That's
And
pretty.
they
And
got
you
the
know
guy from whatchamacallit, what's his name?
You know what the release date is though? January 2021. So it's got a fucking
Yeah, it's
January
gonna be
release date.
trash. What do our guys on Red Letter Media say about January? Fuck you! It's January
Yeah.
movies.
Well, lately there've been some
They're
better
trash.
ones, but so
They've
let's see.
been getting a little better, I would say, over the last few years. But most of the time, it's where Hollywood dumps its garbage.
Let's see.
It's
Who's
January.
who's directing the new one?
I just know that.
So you
Simon
think
McCoy. Never heard of him.
So you
Yeah.
think they make the new one really for the fans, and do you think it's gonna have like the goriest fucking fatalities and shit? And like, oh, that's some.
Well, it is.
People think a Mortal Kombat movie with the last 3-4 games we've had, like that's what you're gonna expect when you watch it.
It is James Wan. He's producing it, so
That's pretty
that's
good
an upside.
already.
That's upside.
Yeah.
he's got a pretty good track record. But they also let some stinkers, some sequels out that he's attached to that.
Yeah.
aren't
Well,
the best,
you know,
but
I
What's
want
his
them to
name?
do that shit, you know,
Jordan Peele
when like
is
Kung Lao throws
producing.
his head on the floor and like drags somebody over the head and shit. Like that's what I want to see.
well, they got the Black Ranger from the Power Rangers movie that came out. I guess. I don't know,
Yeah, and
he
they
was in
got
Aquaman? Oh yeah, he was the dude with the
what
white
the hell
hair.
is it? Yeah. What the hell is
Black Mirror. So
oh my God, Superman. Jimmy from Superman. The show is in it. He's playing Jax, I believe. Jimmy Olsen from Supergirl.
You mean from Supergirl?
Yeah.
Oh,
Supergirl.
What?
Oh,
No
that-
Supergirl movie.
Yeah, what's
you
his
talking about
Michael
the-
Brooks?
The show, the Supergirl show.
All right, okay.
Todd Brooks. Yeah. Well, who's he?
Yeah.
Is he playing? Does it say? I'm guessing.
Playing Jax.
He's playing Jax.
Yeah. And then you got.
I just know his brother. His brother is hilarious. He's in oh my God, what's those Double Toasted? He shows up in Double Toasted every once in a while, and he is hilarious.
Sonya Blade ain't looking too bad. Oh, Jessica McNamee. I'm guessing Sonya, but anyway, she's from Sydney. Do you think they'll let her speak with an Australian accent, or force her to have?
I hope so. Please don't force her to have an American accent.
Especially when
never
it's supposed
works
to.
out.
It's Mortal Kombat. I mean, it's
Right.
It's people from all over the globe fighting, and
But she's supposed to be American special ops.
I guess.
You know, if they go with that. And
but she.
Oh, Rock, yeah. See, Big Trouble in Little China is like is the best film ever made, which is why Mortal Kombat is the best video game movie ever made. It makes so much sense.
yeah,
I
'cause
like
that's the
this
first time I
guy
saw
from.
Raiden.
What's he from? I don't know what he's playing. Doesn't say, but I recognize him. I'm pretty sure he was in the Last Samurai. I know for sure.
Oh yeah, somebody mentioned Beverly Hills Ninja. Liu Kang went on to do that movie. The guy who played Liu Kang.
Yeah. I
love that. I love Beverly Hills Ninja. I know a lot of people be hating on it, but I love it.
Anyway, let's. I also saw that Tomb Raider. They're making a sequel. I didn't know that was confirmed.
Yeah.
Guessing the same. Actress.
Wait, what?
Like the
A sequel to Tomb Raider?
Yeah.
That movie made $5. How they doing a sequel?
I think it made.
I'm not hating. I thought it was all right.
I guess it did decent enough for them to be like, you know what? Let's try it again.
Yeah.
I said that the second one will probably be better than the first. So the way they set
I
it
hope
up.
so.
I didn't like that spoilers. They didn't go all in with the supernatural, but at the same time, that doesn't
I think
always work.
The second one looks like they again, like the way they set it up, it just kind of seems like, okay, the second one will be just an adventure, which I would prefer.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Well, it works when you know what the hell you're doing. I think it can work.
Yeah.
It worked in the original Angelina Jolie film. It was just the second best video game movie ever made.
That is true.
And
I mean,
Even now, live action.
Yeah. Never was a fan, but
Well, I mean,
I'm
we're
not-
not saying it's great. We're just
No.
saying it's the best video game adaptation.
I remember literally. I can remember when they announced the casting, and I was disappointed. It's like
Daniel Craig, ladies and gentlemen. Do you remember him in that?
yeah, it's terrible.
With a horrible American accent. Stop doing that, Hollywood. Just stop.
And like we were just talking about, a guy at work he watched. Speaking of horror movies, I'm guessing James Wan might have been involved. That Oculus came out like 2013.
Okay.
And he's like, "Oh my God, the girl's she's so hot." And he's like, "I think it's the girl from Jumanji." And I'm like, "Really? I don't remember." And it was Karen Gillian. And I'm like, we were just talking about her. I was like, she's not American, right? And he's like, I kind of thought I heard that. I was like, yeah, she's Irish. She's got the thick accent. And I'm like, in Jumanji, she's playing a video game character. Why couldn't she just use her Irish accent? I think it would have helped her character. Yeah. Like, why did she have to speak with an American accent? I don't understand that.
One of the reasons could be that maybe the accent is so thick that they think it's just easier for her to just use an American accent.
Yeah, I guess. But what
But
about?
I don't think her accent was that thick. She doesn't have like the craziest thickest accent.
She could tone it down, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, if your accent is that thick, how can you do an American accent?
Because I originally know her from Doctor Who, and they keep all that shit intact usually. Depending, I mean, David Tennant, he went from a Scottish accent to an American accent. So even in there, they try to do it because some accents they're just too thick. I mean, sometimes I watch a movie, an American movie, and people start to whisper, and I'm like, I can't fucking hear what they're saying. I can turn on subtitles, but usually Americans can't. How can people hear it? So even if like you get those problems already with the American language, if you have like a random ass person switch back and forth, between hearing American and also the super thick Irish accent, it's gonna throw people off. Like you're not gonna hear everything.
Oh, she's Scottish. Sorry,
Irish anyway.
I said Irish. She's Scottish. I just think red. I don't know why when I see red hair, I think Irish, but that's just she's Scottish according to Rocky. I think that sounds right. I didn't verify it, but I'm gonna trust him. And I do gotta agree with Visor Grunt. Dead or Alive, the movie, best video game movie. Not that it's the best, but I think that one's a underrated. That's a straight to video B movie, but man, it's got some
good looking ladies in there.
It's got some good looking ladies, and it's just so bad it's good kind of bad.
Yeah, it's not cheesy.
So I used to play Dead or Alive, and then a Dead or Alive movie came out. I'm like, holy shit, an actual Dead or Alive movie. I have to see this. But that was way before the actual Dead or Alive movie. This was Dead or Alive by Takashi Miike. And that was the fucking worst trash I ever seen in my life. I mean, Takashi Miike makes like the nastiest fucking movies. I mean, I don't know how many people watch the Japanese kind of stuff, but he had like Ichi the Killer, which is like pretty famous in general. But he made like Dead or Alive. And I was watching this Dead or Alive movie, and I'm like, when is the fighting and the boobs coming in? Because you had literally people like drowning people in bathtubs filled with shit. Somebody shoots like a rocket at somebody, they kick away, and you see like this nuke explosion, which literally looked like it was made on paint. And this movie is over, and I'm like, I don't think it was about the video game.
No, the one that came out, I'm guessing early 2000s with Jamie Presley, I believe, was the lead character, and then
Jamie Presley.
Then you had old Roberts. What the hell is his first name?
Eric Roberts.
Eric Roberts. Yeah. It's got its charms. If you've never seen Dead or Alive and you can't find it, you have to rent it or buy it off eBay or something, because you can't just. There's nowhere to stream it. It's $10 on YouTube to watch it, or $10 on Amazon.
$10.
I have the DVD, so I'm good. I haven't watched it in a while. I might probably watch it this week just for some good laughs. And but it's one of those movies you got to just go in with no expectations and just be prepared for some really bad acting and some cheesy ass dialogue. But I always thought that one was pretty underrated as far as video game movies went. But all right, so let's talk about save some
games.
Let's save some time for some the questions. Hopefully, let's talk about the PlayStation 5 show and
woke up. Holy
stuff.
Shit.
A lot of stuff's already been. A lot of people already given their impressions and stuff. So I was trying to think of some way just to, I don't know, to make it a little bit different. So my first thought was just going to be judge it on just the show of being a presentation of video games, and then judge it on being the first time you're seeing anything about PlayStation 5 and seeing the console for the first time. I don't know if you guys think we should separate or just join it together.
I mean, I guess you join it together. I mean,
yeah, I would say join
overall
it together.
score is going to make it easier.
Because for me,
we'll kind of flow through the conversation anyway.
It works better. To me, it gets a higher score as just like a presentation of games. But then when you think that it's the first time we're seeing PlayStation 5 stuff, it felt a little bit less exciting from that standpoint for me. But I think and I watched Roberts, Terrell's. You had a couple other guys on. You were talking. I didn't watch your live stream, but I did watch your
The video
Maniac,
yesterday?
the Sunday. And then Clank didn't get a chance to watch your video, and Ratchet Death, I don't think you made one on it. So I guess just recap real quick. Everybody that's already made a video, if you want to just give your quick thoughts overall, and then we'll kind of dive in a little bit deeper. So let's start with Robert, the guy who has to crane his neck left to right to see what's happening on screen.
That's so disrespectful.
Trying to figure out what he was seeing.
How could you?
How'd you feel about the show overall? And I guess if you
I
want to
mean,
give
my
a score.
neck hurt, yo. No. But for real, it was. I thought it was great, man. I thought it was pretty damn good. I really enjoyed myself. I got, for me personally, in terms of exclusive wise, like you got Ratchet and Clank, Sackboy, and Astro. That was like really exciting for me. I was like, oh, cool, fucking platformers, dude. That's more than the entire PS4 library. Awesome. And hopefully they keep that up, But then I also later on, once it kind of ended and it was the day after, I started thinking that as much as I enjoyed it, it kind of starts to decrease a bit because I started to think about how all these exclusives also don't have even years attached to them. And it's like, not even years, dude. And it worries me that they're doing the same thing with the PS4 where, you had the first half of the gen at the first several E3s, and then the last half of the gen at the half of the E3s. You know what I mean? It's like the same repeats that we're going to be seeing for a long time, and I hope that's not the case. But I thought it was really solid. I would talk about the design also. I guess. I mean, I really don't care, man. I don't fucking care two shits. Like I know people like what I was just surprised at is that was the big thing. It was like they showed the box. I'm like, dude, who fucking cares what it looks like? I just do not care in the slightest. And then the sad thing is that's like the big thing is everyone's talking about it looks like a wiper or this and that. I'm like, dude, I just don't care, man. We have Ratchet and Clank, we got Sackboy, we got games. Why are we talking about a box? I don't care,
So
man.
you wouldn't care if it would look like a squirrel.
It
You
could
wouldn't
look
care if
like
it looked like a big dong. You wouldn't
It
care.
look like a turd,
it looked like
Ubisoft
a
turd.
dildo. It could look like a triple-sized dildo, and I wouldn't give two shit.
So I gotta stop real quick because Capable
Pause.
Tie 7 is in the chat. Capable Tie 7 was a long time Juices Loose live watcher, commenter. We used to play in the Mario Kart 8 tournaments back in the day, and I haven't seen you in years, man.
Wow.
So welcome back. I don't know where you've been, but we're still here.
Hello.
So it's good to have you. Good to see you. Good to see your name back in the chat, man. So, all right.
I'm watching Player Essence.
Let's go. I think you was a Player Essence fan. Let's go to Retro Death because you didn't make a video, and I don't think you said too much about it. Just what was your overall thoughts of the show, and I guess if you want to talk about the design of the system, go ahead.
I really enjoyed the show. I liked that we got a lot of PlayStation IP. I like that we got a lot of gameplay, like all the games Robert mentioned earlier. Ratchet and Clank gameplay, Astro gameplay, Sackboy gameplay, and I'm looking forward to all of those games as well. Like you said, the PlayStation 4 doesn't have a lot of platformers, and I like seeing PlayStation IP come back, creating platformers. I like the fact that even some games that really, I mean, I usually don't care about power, but I'm still like, okay, show me something that the PlayStation 5 can do, like that. Why I want to buy it. And Sackboy looked really fucking good. And another game that I really loved was Kena. Like, I can't fucking wait for that. And you see this gameplay, and like it just looks like a fucking Pixar movie that you're playing. It looks so good. So I like what I saw. I like the quantity of what I saw, and I like the way they pace it. I had a lot of fun. I would give that show like a 9.5. Like lots of games, lots of IP, lots of gameplay. Shit that I hated on Xbox for that. I didn't feel I got to see that. No Xbox IP, that kind of shit. If you want to maybe compare.
they
Xbox
haven't
haven't
done
had
their-
their show yet.
Yeah, they didn't
man.
do their
Jesus.
first party show.
Yeah, no, but like the last time they had, like all I knew last time was, oh, the Xbox show. Okay, so I'm expecting to see Xbox shit. You do if you do a reveal like this with showing your games off for the first time, I'm expecting you to see what you're gonna bring to the table, not what everybody else is gonna bring to the table. Anyway, so I liked all of that, and I like the way the system looks. I don't know. A lot of people like to bitch and shit, but I like it when systems look kind of funky and that kind of shit. And like I like all the memes that come from it and shit, but I thought it looked like the Control, like a futuristic kind of thing. And yeah, some people say it looks like a modem, but I mean everything looks like something. And I prefer the thing to look weird as fuck than to just be a box. Like the Wii U is just boring and shit, you know. Like the Wii, it's boring and all that kind of shit. I mean, the PlayStation 3 is fucking massive, but at least it had some form to it. And then I don't know, I just like this. I like the design and the colors and everything. I was really happy. I had like a nice evening looking at video games and shit. As for the dates, I don't care. It's like the very first time you're showing something, I don't need a date for everything. A lot of the shit said 2021, but I mean, things coming out holiday 2020. Did you expect every game to say like December 2020? You know, so
no, but retro like Ratchet didn't even have a year, dude.
No, yeah, I do agree. I do feel like what Robert said. Like, I hope they have learned, and that because like the PlayStation 4 now has a great fucking year, but it's like literally its last fucking year. So I hope they're not gonna do that shit again. But when you have the first show, I don't really mind. It's like 3-4 months from now, you don't give me like a few dates. Yeah, I'm gonna be weird because that is exactly the reason why there's a lot of games in here I want to play. But if you don't give me dates, I'm not buying your system. But I still like what I saw.
Yeah, and that's I forgot to point that out. I seen another podcast where like the big question was, will it make you buy a PlayStation 5 day one? And for me, I've never bought a PlayStation day one, so that wasn't even, to me, it wasn't even something I was thinking about. Like I wasn't expecting or looking for this to sell me on a PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 5 day one. So that it was kind of strange to hear. I didn't really think of it like that. So maybe you guys were looking for it to try to sell you on a day one purchase, but
I personally did.
I was kind of thinking about it that way.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking, and
it's realistic, especially if it was like Xboxes where it was like, oh, here's the third party, here's the first party. Like if they split up the events, I wouldn't have treated it as such. But they were like, oh, here's our PlayStation 5 like big showcase.
Well, to me, it's the prices. When they tell the price, that's when I'd maybe start considering if I would get it at launch or not, type of thing.
$599 US dollars.
Well, that's what irked me about the whole waiting on the console, showing the console at the end of the show. I'm thinking if you're going to show the console at the end of the show, I'm at least going to get either a price or B a release date. Like either one, I would have been cool with. Like, why make this big deal of we're gonna wait till the end of the show to show off the console?
I find it so weird.
And the big thing is, there's a digital version, and I'm like, all right, I don't really think that was worth all.
You know that is gonna be expensive now.
You didn't even show me the fucking OS.
And I think they probably
and it's weird because remember during the middle they said what the console could do, and one of their selling points was 4K Ultra Blu-ray that you can't do with your digital. It's like, wait a minute, why would you highlight that out of your 4 points?
Yeah, I think I don't know if I have a feeling the digital version is going to be way less availability wise. There's going to be way less of them in stores. But anyway, let me give my take. Like I said, I really wasn't thinking I was going to buy a PS5 day one. I've already said that. Like, I like what Microsoft was saying with backwards compatibility and the fact that the Series X is basically going to give me something I can hook up to my TV, which I've had a year now. I've had it over a year. That's going to be able to take full advantage of my TV, even with the old games. I was like, all right, I've been kind of waiting for something to come out where I can take advantage of all these features for the TV I had. So I was kind of, unless the Series X is $600, then it's probably not going to be a purchase day one. But so I was going in the Sony just like, all right, let's see some games. Whether they were planning on it or they learned, maybe they saw some feedback. They said everything was captured. Whether it was, there's some gray area. There's some what's the word for it? They could say it's captured on PS4 and it still be just like some CGI they made rendered using a game engine. It doesn't mean it's a game or like actual in-game footage. So I know there's a loophole there, but to start off with, and I guess we'll talk about the individual stuff. The start was a little rough, the announcement in the beginning. That kind of pissed me off the more I thought about it. But the fact that they showed stuff running on the system, whether it was a dev kit or not, I thought that was a good decision. And the flow, I felt it was very similar to Xbox, where it had good variety. It was just game after game. There wasn't a whole lot of bullshit in between. So I thought it was pretty much equal in a lot of ways. Some weird ass looking games where I was like, why would they show this as your first time seeing it? PS5 games, but at the same time, I appreciated the variety and the quirkiness to some of the games. Even the guys that made Octodad, that bug snack or whatever, just a completely wacky, ridiculous game. Like, has no business being part of the PS5's initial. But on some level, I find that kind of charming, I guess. But
you appreciate that, yeah.
So, just looking at it as some good games, or some interesting looking games, decent amount of gameplay. It was more than 50%, I think, or about 50%. I felt like they at least gave us some, whether it was 5 seconds or whether it was 5 minutes, or 2 minutes, whatever Ratchet and Clank was. They showed us some from the player's perspective stuff, and I was like, that was a pretty decent show, especially considering Sony and me. I always felt like their E3 shows have always been pretty terrible. I always thought. I kind of felt like I was kind of the odd man out, not with this group, but in general. And I just like that they're getting them. I guess they're hitting their stride a little bit. Their state of play is focusing on individual games, and now this, I thought, it was a decent show. I probably gave it like an 8.5 just on its own merit. I'd probably drop it down thinking that this is the future of gaming. This is the PS5, first thing we're seeing. But I don't know if maybe at the lowest I'd put it 8 for it. And then the system itself, I'm more concerned about it fitting in my entertainment stand. If the scaling's accurate from the disk drive, this thing's massive. It looks like it's. I didn't see any dimensions, but it's like towers over the Series X, and I have a mock-up of the Series X that gave actual dimensions, and that thing's barely going to fit in my entertainment stand, so I'm a little concerned down the road if I pick up a PS5, or when I pick up a PS5, about it actually fitting somewhere and not having to put it like outside my entertainment stand. So that's a little bit kind of curious why they would go that route. I don't love the design either. I'm not one of those fancy like art sculpture buildings, I never really liked that stuff. So
Art Deco, Art Nouveau.
And I don't love the white. I like it just to blend in with my entertainment stand and not stick out. So I say I'm not thrilled about the design, but it's not going to stop. It wouldn't stop me from, if the price was right and there was some great games, I'd still pick it up. But overall, I think it was a pretty good show, especially from Sony's standard. My standards for Sony are always been pretty low. So. All right, who's next? T, you want to go?
Yeah, if I was, judging it on the basis of it being a show, I'd probably give it like a 9 as a show. But like you said, this is your first showing of the PS5, and if you look at it from that perspective, for me, it falters a little bit, especially in the middle of the presentation itself. And you start digging into the details, you start thinking about things, you're like, well, that all digital version most likely means there's not going to be any PS1, PS2, PS3 backwards compatibility.
Oh shit, I didn't think about that, to be honest.
Yeah, so that's probably not going to be a thing. PS4, yeah, you can still do that. You can do it digitally. Obviously, you can still download games or whatever. But if you care about that, I don't know why you get a digital version anyway.
Yeah, you would.
And the hard drive itself is 825 gigs.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something to think about. And obviously you want that SSD because it's all about the power of the SSD, right? So buying a mechanical one to slap in there into the USB drive isn't.
That'll work for your backwards compatible games.
And it'll work for your BC games and stuff like that.
And you can store your games there, but then you have to move them back to the solid state to play them. So
right. So there's going to be that. You guys know, like if I was like 14 and this is like, mid 90s or something, I would love this design, but I'm not. And because, back then, I don't know if you remember concept consoles and, it was really cool looking at magazines and see the mock-ups and whatnot, what it's going to look like. I remember the GameCube one being really striking, like, oh, that's going to be cool, futuristic looking, but it just came out and it's just a cube, which is fine. But I remember back then, I probably would be more susceptible to it. Like but it just, for me, it doesn't work visually, but that's not a big thing. It's about the games and stuff. And for me, outside of Uncharted, I'm not overly crazy about Sony IPs. So I was hoping to see something that would, make me excited. I'm not excited for Horizon. I just finished it, and I'm going through New Game Plus on it. So I'm excited for that, but that game's not coming out probably for a couple years. So, overall, it was a good show, but, it wasn't a great show for PS5. It was a good show overall, but for me, but I said it in my video, I was happy to see platformers, although I didn't think Sackboy looked that great, but I thought Ratchet and Clank looked amazing.
Which one looked like 3D World?
Sackboy. I think it's
Sackboy.
Yeah,
I thought Sackboy looked really good.
I didn't think it looked great. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
PS5
visually.
Great, but gameplay wise, it looked pretty good.
Gameplay looked cool.
But I'm
visually,
thinking that'll be a PS4. I'm curious if that'll be a PS4
crossover game, crossplay.
And I forgot
Little Big Planet 3 was a PS3, PS4 game.
Yeah, it was.
And I forgot to point out something too. Like, they didn't. This wasn't the show, I guess, in their opinion, to like clarify all the misconceptions about backwards compatibility and stuff. Like, I thought they missed an opportunity to.
Yeah, you would think they would do that.
That's been
sure.
People have been really confused by that, and maybe they have another show like a month from now that's gonna just go through all that stuff and price and all. Maybe be 2 months, who knows? But I just thought that was kind of weird that they didn't take the opportunity to clear that up. Hopefully, they have some clarification. They even know. You'd hope so.
I hope so. But there's some stuff. There's some room in there where they could have threw that in. I thought
because
they wasted some time.
Yeah, like remove that GTA 5 shit.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
That was fucking awful. That beginning was just.
Well, they had
so
to get that out because they wanted people. They wanted people to be get ready for their $1 million a month or whatever they're giving away for that game. So they want you to sign up for.
Wasn't $1 million in Rockstar money a month, like in-game money?
Yeah.
It's in-game money. Yeah.
So that means that's no money to them. It's just stupid.
Right, but they want you to sign up so you can get that money. So that's why they made that an emphasis.
I wonder who paid who to get that announcement in the start of the show. Was that Sony wanted that or Rockstar wanted that? Who knows?
Yeah.
But
We'll
talk about that. Hold on, let's get Clocked impressions and we'll dive into this fucking GTA.
My impression. The PS5 event sent me into a state of depression. I nearly quit YouTube and gaming.
Jesus.
I was in absolute fucking misery after it. Misery. I nearly streamed it live. I got a webcam now. I nearly streamed it live, but instead I just recorded it, and I was also on voice chat with some friends, so we'd all just talking as we were watching it. But afterwards, we were all just left speechless, really. Not necessarily in a good way. The only thing I tweeted about it was that it was a PS4 event with a PlayStation 5 console shown at the end. And I kind of like half joked about that, but it was also kind of like half serious as well, because you know me, I've always said, what's the reason we're going into next gen for, and outside of maybe one or two examples, maybe only one example, being Ratchet and Clank. There was nothing, absolutely nothing for me for a next generation console. So I need to stress that for the next generation.
Before you go on, I just wanted to get this out because this is one thing I wanted. Did we really need like a 5-minute CGI electronic caviar forming into a PlayStation 5? Did we really need that?
Right, that's what I'm saying. I was like,
you could have took that time and talked about stuff that we actually cared about, like the backwards compatibility. instead of sitting there. How long did that last? That felt forever to me. With the caviar dancing around.
About 2 minutes.
Hey, the music. Yo, they were getting it was like porno status,
Yeah.
dude. They were getting into like fucking the music.
Yeah, with the music and the
like, dude,
glowing the black screen. It's like that was too weird to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I want to get into the rant, but I want Clocked it to finish.
Yeah,
first.
Clocked finish.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, let Clock to finish. I just want to throw that out there.
Sorry, do ahead.
No, it's all right. I mean, the video I released just now, I just chucked on my microphone and just spoke because for me, you know, it's been mentioned a few times on Yurt as well, where you talk about variety. You know, a lot of variety in the show. I didn't see any. For me, I didn't see any video games. I saw the usual games that we've had this entire generation, which has made me hate the PlayStation 3 and has made me hate the PlayStation 4. And you know, variety comes more in than just genres and stuff. You know, we need to think about gameplay ideals, art design, music and sound, and they're, you know, my version of video games is what I grew up on, and what I talk about. Sorry, I'm gonna make this quick. What I talk about briefly in the video is I saw the final nail hammered in by the hammer of Western game design taking over video games, and that's what we saw in this event. There was no Japan. There was no Japan, even from the Japanese companies. And you might think, wait, what we talking about? You know, Ghostwire was there, you know, Tokyo and stuff. Yeah, you know, that's a Mikami game, you know, but that was still very in art. You know, its direction was still very dark, still very somber and all that stuff. And you might say, yeah, but Capcom was there with Resident Evil, you know, Village. That's not Resident Evil to me. Resident Evil 7 wasn't Resident Evil to me. The difference between how Resident Evil used to sound, look, and play compared to what we have today, they are two different franchises. That's not.
That's what I said in my.
Hearing you fucking talk about this shit.
That's what I said in my video. They gave us the the classic remake style Resident Evil, and then now we've gotten two really out there.
That's not my Capcom. You know, my Capcom is the one I grew up with on the PlayStation 1. I always rate the PlayStation 1 as Sony's best console in terms of diversity. When you want to talk about diversity, go back to the PlayStation 1. Because don't bring in the PlayStation 3, don't bring in the PlayStation 4. And by the looks of it so far, don't even bother bringing in the PlayStation 5. I was depressed because I'm like, they're going to be charging us £600 or whatever for this console. And what am I meant to be excited about? What, another Horizon? Yeah, because that's another Western-made game. You know, we all saw, what's that one game we all saw Kena. We're all just like, oh yeah, Kena looks beautiful. It does look beautiful. But that's a Western game. Yeah, it's not a Japanese-made adventure game. It's not a Breath of the Wild type of game. People will compare it to Zelda because it looks like you're running in a forest and stuff. It will play nothing like it because it's not a Japanese-made game. And Japan have...
People need to compare, and I mean, people really need to stop comparing like everything to Zelda. Like,
everything comes out as Breath of the Wild.
When Japan were last in charge was during the PS1, N64, and Dreamcast era. They started to fade during the PS2 era. They were pretty much gone and dying during the PS3 era. And I don't know where they were in the PS4 era. And people might say to me, "Yeah, what about Monster Hunter and all this stuff?" You know, Monster Hunter was westernized, right? It's, you know, we have to realize what's happening with gaming, and it's not going in the direction I want it. The console, the PS5, is going to
colonial level bullshit.
It's going to look stunning. Games are going to be great. Games are still going to be great. Games are going to look stunning, but it's no longer the video games that I want. That's why I was depressed.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Before we move on with any rant, I just want to hear from you, Clark. That name me one thing you liked. Anything. Show me something positive, a game or something.
So the two games that I'm interested in is Kena, Bridge of Spirits, because I still think it's going to be a great looking adventure game and hopefully plays well. by the gameplay that we saw, it looked really nice. I was really impressed with it. But that's coming to the PS4 as well, so I don't need the PS5 for that. And then there was that game Stray, and I've always been an advocate for animal protagonists. So it's
wait. I didn't know Kena was coming to PS4.
Yeah, Kena's not a PS5 exclusive deal.
Yeah, I was gonna.
That's a weird thing. It said timed. I thought it said timed console exclusive at the end. If you watch the separate trailer,
I'm sure it's coming to PC, PS4, and PS5.
Oh, yeah,
it's coming to
it's
PC. That's what.
And PC.
But the fact that, let me bring that up. I thought that was the one that said
the reason that kind of gets into my frustrations with the whole event, because I wanted to actually clocked it. The way he finished it kind of leans into one of my biggest frustrations, because I up until clocked it, I probably would have said I'm probably the most negative one towards this event, because I would say it started off fine, and man, it just got progressively worse for me with like a few little bright spots.
More negative than me? I thought I was going to be the most negative.
No, dude, I was so.
Well, check the screen here.
I was so burned out with it. And the thing is, it gets worse even after the event was over, because you would find out, oh, this game is cross-generation. Like some of these games are coming. Like what's the other one that looked kind of cool? Little Devil, I think is what it's called. That's also, I think, coming. I think
that game been coming for 5 or 6 years by now.
Well, yeah, but that game, that's another game that's coming to cross-generation.
So this one don't make sense then, because then this is where there needs to be clarification. This says PlayStation 5 console exclusive for a limited time, also available on PC. Now, if that just said PlayStation exclusive,
that makes no sense.
Well, also that means also that Kena's, that shit's not gonna stay on PlayStation. It'll be on Xbox.
So
no, but
find out that it's a PS4 game, then that's what it's a timed console exclusive over the PS4 version. That seems kind of weird. I just assumed I assumed it was coming to Xbox.
I've seen plenty of places where it said PS4, but I mean, what it says on the screen there says
a lot of confusion.
Yeah, that's.
There's a lot of confusion with a lot of the stuff that they've shown, even with Spider-Man and stuff like that.
Because I was like, I'd get this on Xbox when I saw that, unless it's like a year.
That's what frustrated me about the event.
Well, Spider-Man is clearly
that was people kind of misconstruing. Well, I guess that's more.
It's clearly Torna. It's clearly like Uncharted, Lost Legacy. That's what it is.
That's what I thought.
I mean, that is what it is,
to be honest.
But that's okay. I don't have a problem with that. Like that's fine. I don't have a problem with it. It just
I don't have a problem either. But I
the
thought
messaging was just weird.
I was surprised. I was like, oh wow. I was impressed that they were pumping out a sequel, and then that's why I was confused, because when they announced Ratchet and Clank, I was like, who's working on Spider-Man or who's working on Ratchet? Like I didn't know. Like, all right, can they work on 201? So I'm very confused. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
you can't pump out a full sequel in 2 years of Spider-Man.
No, it's just gonna be.
But in my eyes, I think they could, if they reused New York. You know what I mean? All they have to do is really just the missions, and I feel like Insomniac is one that they launched fucking 4 Ratchet and Clanks in like.
Then that's not a full sequel though. That's
yeah, they didn't call it a full. They called it a standalone game. That's
I realize that, but I just feel like I think it wasn't impossible for them to release a Spider-Man 2, but then I started thinking, well, maybe they might not do New York again in the next one. I don't know.
Let me give my theory real quick on Ratchet and Clank, because Robert was talking about the lack of a year.
I want to hear the rant.
You were talking about the lack of a release year. I think the lack of a release year is because they don't know if it's going to be a launch game or not, and they don't want to say it is if it gets delayed.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope
they said that was pre-alpha footage. That looked like a pretty damn complete game.
It looked pretty close to finish to me.
So I think that,
unless the only thing that's finished is that.
They showed a lot of different environments and stuff. They were jumping.
Yeah, but all those environments were just jumping through. It wasn't like
but they still have to make all those environments. They can't.
But you don't know that was a full environment though. That's
the thing. It might just literally be that.
Yeah, that might be just a quick little blast through it, but. That's just my theory. I think that's why they didn't give a year.
Hey man, I would love it if Ratchet and Clank is
I'll say March 2021 at the latest.
That's a launch title. That'd be phenomenal.
Yeah, that'd be.
I feel like because before we move on too much, because I wanted to say that about the Spider-Man thing. Like, the thing that pissed me off about the Spider-Man trailer is that I didn't see any of because T said you saw like Marvel or something in the beginning. I didn't notice that.
No.
This trailer started. What?
Go ahead. Finish.
Well, I saw this trailer starting, and you see this arm, and you see this orange thunder coming over the arm. I'm like, yes, fuck. And so like they're making a Flash game. I've been waiting for a good The Flash game for fucking years. I was so fucking excited. And then it starts climbing, and I'm like, hey, that kind of looks a bit like Aquaman's arm now. I'm like, okay, maybe they're making some kind of mix-up thing. And then you see Spider-Man. I was legit disappointed because it's been like, it's not like Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man.
Yeah,
I
you're the
have so
biggest
much fun
Spider-Man
with it.
fan
But I mean,
here.
like, it's just, you just made this game. And so to tease me with this fucking Speed Force shit, what's the point? Don't add that stupid lightning to that trailer.
Yeah.
What I was saying was,
I thought Infamous for a second, not Flash or anything.
yeah, that would have made more sense. But what I was saying, Retro, was that the idea of this whole event was these are going to be Sony games, right? These are going to be, at least they're going to, they'll at least start the show with a Sony first party game, right? That's how you do it. So what I was saying was that there was no way it could have been Flash. That wasn't even in my thought process when I was seeing, I saw what you saw too, but it wasn't in my thought process. I'm like, well, Sony's not going to have a Flash game, first party. That's a Warner Brothers property. That's that's not going to happen for Sony.
I didn't think that deep.
So that's what I was thinking.
Fucking took over when I saw that line.
Right. So I understand where you're coming from because it did look like Flash, but
So who
I didn't think it was Flash.
Who in the panel here is just can't wait for 2021 when they can play this amazing new game called Grand Theft Auto 5 on PS5.
Third generation.
If you want to, I could channel some Clocked It there. Once I came back from my live stream when my power went out, and I was fucking angry when I was thinking about like 8 years.
This is Bethesda levels of shit right here. This is Elder Scrolls, Skyrim levels of bullshit.
This
right
is
But at least they have even Elder Scrolls
New
6,
Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe level bullshit here. Except
you see the
I'd say it's worse than that.
You see the memes and shit.
It's way worse than that.
It's a year older.
You see, like the first 8 years, some shit. You have like GTA 3, San Andreas, like 4 and that kind of shit, and then you have like the next 8 years. It's like only 5. It's like
that's insane. That's insane. Yeah, I know somebody's gonna make a video where they just point that shit out, and it's gonna be a hilarious video. But yeah, that's just crazy.
I mean,
I think what could have been cool is what they could have had GTA 5 and then go. They said the only franchise to be on like every PlayStation is Grand Theft Auto. Well, then why not have a remastered collection of all of them? You know what I'm saying? Like 1 through 5.
why not just make it backwards
But that's
compatible?
gonna require work, Robert. That takes work. Why do that when you can have morons that can go out and buy this game for the third time,
4th time because they bought it on
make
PC too.
and go out and make all kinds of money.
The Grand Theft Auto collection. You know what I'm saying? Like that would have been pretty cool. I think.
Why didn't they just make
That would have been great.
Don't you think GTA 5 is one of the top 100 played games? Mark Cerny said that they'd make sure the top 100 would take advantage of
true.
Would take advantage of the PlayStation 5.
2 or 3 probably.
That is true.
So why not just make it a free update for the 100
It's the
million
second best-selling game on the system. Or first best-selling.
100 million
No,
people.
it has to be. It literally has to be.
The PS4 version is probably 40, 30 million. Probably.
It's number one.
Yeah,
But here's the thing: the fact that they're even making a PS5 version makes you wonder: does it even have PlayStation 4 backwards compatibility in the first place?
It's
See all these questions.
Exactly. This makes no sense on any level. The fact that how old it is, other than they wanted GTA Online to continue to make money on the PS5, and that's basically
really one of the best.
You have to have GTA 5, the game,
it's
to have
the second
GTA
best
Online.
game of all time.
But still, it's like free up. Why don't you just have it be a free update? You put in your PS4.
Yeah, because you can make more money this way.
If you want to release a box that says GTA 5 for the PS5, whatever. But the fact that, and they haven't confirmed that it won't, but I'm assuming it wasn't. Isn't going to just put in a PS4 disc and get a free update to get all the upgrades. And we don't know that.
There's a bunch of new content.
We don't know what the price will be and stuff like that. But the fact that it's not even ready for launch. This is a 20. Why wouldn't it be ready for the PS5 launch? It doesn't.
Granted,
make any sense.
That's one of the bigger issues with the whole fucking event. You got a bunch of games that were cool. Look at these cool games that are coming out. Half of them don't even have years, let alone fucking months.
Wait, GTA is not going to be at launch?
It's 2021.
We don't have any. Yeah.
What? I missed that. What?
They can't get a
That's why I'm
7-year-old game ready for the launch of the PS5.
The balls on these
Because
people.
they were realistically they were not ready to put this thing out, and I feel like this event was an example of that, at least to me personally.
Yeah, what
Because
the
a
fuck
lot
are
of
they doing? Because they're not putting more story content. Like, what the fuck are they doing on it? I don't
Bunch of-
understand.
Well, there is more story content, but
no,
it's
there is
mostly
no story
online.
content whatsoever.
I mean, it's online stuff.
It's just an easy port, but apparently not that easy. Even with the power
Well,
of the SSD,
no one-
that's why it takes time.
They don't do like they did a pretty, the remaster or whatever for PS4 and Xbox One. That looked like a different game. Like they went over that and
Yeah, it
put a
looked
lot
great.
into it. And then the PC version, same thing. I mean, it's a massive improvement. And I'm guessing they're gonna put that much effort in again. But it's still like, how much more fucking billions do you need to make off this game?
It's
because
embarrassing.
it still sells. It's literally a case. It still sells.
Yeah,
so why
It's
not?
it's insane.
It
It's
still sells,
insane.
but it's been $20.
The old game still sells.
Yeah, but the point is they're still making money off it without really having to do much.
They're able to sell those, $10, $20
I hope-
copies. Enough to,
And then they're making a fuck ton
reach
off of
top 10.
GTA Online. That's the other thing.
I
Well,
hope
the GTA
people-
Online, they make billions on
Let's
that
look
shit.
at the
That's what I'm saying.
reveal trailer and see what kind of. It had some downvotes. Somebody was saying.
No, it's got more than half downvotes, I believe, actually.
Yeah, it
Surprisingly.
was pretty.
Let me
I
check
mean,
it.
yeah, most people were just annoyed, especially considering it was the first game that was
Well,
shown. in
because
the event.
everyone's thinking about it. Everyone's thinking about GTA 6, man.
got 2
Get
million
the fuck
views.
Well,
out.
that's what you would expect. That's what you would expect to see. But realistically, like when you look at the event doesn't have.
Damn.
At least for me, it didn't have anything I would consider like crazy hitters. Like
It's 2
and
to
I kinda
1. The downvotes are 2 to 1. 86,000 downvotes to 46,000 upvotes. So that tells me that there's at least some people, a good amount of people, aren't just gonna bend over and take this. I hope that.
Yeah, but those aren't the ones watching the event. Half of those people won't. Half of those people, the people who will buy it are the casuals. They'll
Yeah,
be buying
true.
it.
They're not watching.
There's a lot of people that are definitely like I know some
Yeah.
people that are actually like
Half of the people
playing
probably own it
GTA
like 3
Online a lot,
fucking
and
times.
they're like, oh, we got to start playing every month
Yeah.
to get the
You
million.
think it'll be 60 frames per second yet on consoles or not?
I would think so.
Nah, no one. If I had to take
Actually,
a
I
bet,
don't know
I'd
what it
say
was on
no.
the Xbox One X. So
30.
It might have been. I would. I
I
wouldn't be
think it was
surprised.
30.
I don't
I
know.
think.
It ain't
GTA
60.
was-
It's 30.
does anybody have?
Oh, is it on consoles?
I mean, that's
Yeah.
the thing. A lot of frame rates aren't even going to be that drastic. I guarantee you, right?
Oh no, I think most of these games are gonna run.
They said
like,
Ratchet
especially-
was the video was at 30. So
14.
Oh no,
I
I'm
would
Ratchet's
think-
definitely definitely gonna be 30. Already.
Ratchet better not be no goddamn 30.
the last
Dude,
one
you gotta
was.
look at the game. The gameplay looks slow, bro. I
No,
look at
No, the
game.
gameplay looks-
I don't know. It has to do with slow, but you gotta think that
I would
Ratchet and Clank.
disagree.
No, but Ratchet and Clank on PS4 was 30.
Yeah, and it looks.
Yeah, I know.
As somebody played through it, they increased the movement speed. That was the first thing I.
But that would be
Really?
that
It
would be
didn't
that
look
would be
fast to
Yoshi's
me.
Crafted World levels of bullshit. That would
That
be.
does not look fast to me, especially if you, hell, you can go back and compare footage between like the old Ratchet and Clanks on PS3
But that wouldn't
and
make
then,
any
and
sense.
then that game. That's definitely gonna be a 30.
Well, yeah, the-
That is the one thing that pisses me off so much. It's like we all want, I want a new console, new system, this, new system, that. It's like, bitch, we still can't even do fucking 60 FPS standard and shit.
It's
you know?
not that they
It's
can't
like,
do
it's
it.
not- like,
No,
the greatest
no, but
of-
retro. It's not a situation where they can't do it. It's an issue of well, we still gotta make the game look so visually amazing and shit.
No, but
that
it's
you,
not even
but you
just
end up
that.
cutting
It's-
the frame rate in half.
Yeah, like the atrocity, like fucking Kirby on the goddamn Switch. There's no reason such games are at 30, and I'm the one who usually doesn't give a shit about this stuff. It's like, why are these
When we
games
talked
at
about
30?
when we talked
And the
about Rogue
visuals-
Leader earlier,
Yeah, the visuals. I was just gonna say that the visuals in GameCube games were amazing for their time, and we still had a bunch of 60 frame per second games at launch.
Well, you know
Like,
what? I
come
think,
on.
I think what it is
The
they're gonna
reality is
start
that
to do-
they're overshooting their boundaries. That's
No,
my
I don't
opinion.
even think. I think it's because they're aiming for the 4K. I think if it's 1080,
That's
I think-
exactly. That's the point I'm
No,
making. They're
no,
trying
but
to make-
but I think Ratchet. I would almost bet you they're gonna give like performance modes. You know how they normally do that. I would almost bet you they do 1080 fucking 60. I guarantee you. That's my bet.
Well, that'd be fine, but realistically, if you're talking about like its native resolution when you play it on the PS5, it's gonna run 30.
I mean, it
In my-
does get
I would
slow.
bet.
But this is what I mean, right? So I'm not a tech guy. Maybe what I'm gonna say now is dumb as shit. But then make it 3K and 60. You know, don't make it
3K,
30.
I don't know about
They don't care. No.
Oh, you got 2K. You can
We
do
could do
2K.
1440p, but that's a lot of.
Yeah,
But
you can do
Sony's
2K.
always been, at least in the recent generations, they've been very focused on visual
Well,
fidelity.
think about this though. The PS
and frame rate doesn't mean as much.
when the PS4 first
true.
came out, they I wouldn't say Sony, but I think there was a good amount of 60 frames per second. It was a lot of cross-gen games, and I think there was a narrative about the gap in visuals wasn't a big leap from PS3 to PS4 in the early days. If you guys remember that, was kind of one of the narratives.
Yeah,
and I think then developers just focused more on getting more out of the visuals, and we got 30 across the board. But then you got the PS4 Pro was enough to get God of War running at 60 frames per second. So I don't.
And you know why? Because gamers today don't give a shit about gameplay. All they care about is the goddamn stories and the movie-like graphics. That's all. Yeah. That's why we can't get.
I was gonna say God of War is the exception. It's not
bullshit.
Well, they did that for Shadow of the Colossus. They did it for God of War. They did it for The Last of Us Remastered, where the 60 frames per second option was still, 1080, which was what the base PS4 was. So they could get double the frame rate at the same resolution and that jump was smaller. So I don't understand. And maybe it's just because it's a launch titles, maybe. But at the same time, too, there's some, best game of all time, Breath of the Wild, is a 30 frames per second game. Not every game needs to be 60 to be good.
I think most games, 30 is really,
there's some where you'd expect it.
Well, you wouldn't love to see Breath of the Wild in 60?
No, that'd be great. Don't get me wrong.
24 hours of it.
There you go.
It doesn't hurt me,
No, this is what I'm saying too. It doesn't need. I can play any game on 30 FPS. I don't care. I'm not the guy who's like, 60 FPS or else it's not unplayable. No, but at this point, stop moving the technology forward if you can't even do the present shit yet.
That's it's not. Go ahead, Clark.
I was just saying, you're talking about God of War just then, being 60 frames per second, and having all the jiggly wigglies that, they could throw on the screen, etc. But, it's one of my complaints about the direction God of War went in. And it's, you got a 60 frames per second now, you got it looking, as beautiful as the sun. But how many characters did Kratos fight on the screen compared to God of War 3? The amount of enemies on the screen, right, in God of War 3 pisses on the new God of War. Absolutely.
It's a misplace of resources. That's why I
would say.
It's like you have all this power, and the first thing you're worried about doing is making it look amazing instead of making it be more fun to play.
Yeah, you can not care about the gameplay of God of War 3. I don't care. You can not care about that stuff. But when I'm talking about spectacle, when I'm talking about the amount of enemies on screen and environments and stuff, it's just night and day. So what do you sacrifice compared to what do you gain? What do we gain compared to what we lost? And for me,
it's funny you brought that up, Clock, because I saw a video comparing even God of War 2 to God of War 3 and what how much lesser it was compared as far as certain things.
Because the way you can wrap it up in this neat little bow. Developers nowadays, at least from what I've noticed, seem to have their priorities fucked up, where it's more focused on the spectacle of a situation than it is on the fun aspect for certain games. And not every game, mind you, but certain games.
That's why,
being an example.
Well, that's why, during this PS5 event, I said it, and I knew those comments were coming. I mocked all the motherfuckers that were going to talk trash about bug snacks and.
Oh yeah, you called it because I listened to Next Gen's podcast and he saw that Kana, the Kana game came on, or that's how it was pronounced in the trailer, Kana. He's like, "Oh hell no!" As soon as he saw the art style, I'm like, "Dude, that's the best looking game."
I'm like,
but to his credit, he thought Ratchet and Clank looked good though.
Yeah.
I will say Ratchet and Clank is a good enough mix for him where he's like, all right, we'll let that slide.
I will say though, if I was a developer, I've seen quite a few comments about the PS5. The games didn't look that much beyond PS4. Even in my live stream, somebody was saying that. So it's like, I think, and we talked about the diminishing returns, for the last two generations probably, and it's like I think what they're realizing, or maybe, I think they've known since the Pro and the X came out, to basically quadruple the amount of pixels on the screen is way more taxing, I think, than people really thought was, and I think that's what they're struggling, because if they release a game on the PS5 that's not at 4K when the PS4 Pro is supposed to be a 4K machine, I don't know. I feel like they'd take some pretty big slack from gamers from that too. So it's like pick your poison in that sense.
I think a problem when it comes to that is that game companies are trying to keep up with like TV technology instead of with gaming technology.
Yeah, that's a
Like in
good
the
point.
past, we went for the
Well,
Nintendo,
that's
for the
Sony's
Super
problem in a
Nintendo,
nutshell.
because the gaming technology evolved. They need to stop trying to keep up with what TVs can do and first augment what you can do.
And I will say, as you know,
they're not game companies. They're not game companies.
No.
They won't. It's not their interest, and we knew that. We knew that as soon as Sony came into the market. It's not their interest. So this is why gaming has gone in the direction that it has gone in now. It's like a lot of people would say, "Man, I'd love a Nintendo game to look like Ratchet and Clank," and I can understand why, because it looks stunning, right? It looks stunning. You think, this looks like a Pixar movie, but everything that you're seeing in the background goes against everything Nintendo stands for, because everything in the background of this game is almost untouchable.
It's just eye candy.
It's what I call background color. Whereas if Nintendo populates stuff, games they populate, Breath of the Wild, games they populate, Mario Odysseys, games they populate, the Metroid Primes. But within those worlds, whether they're smaller, whether they're bigger, what is populated is gameplay.
Yeah, but I would argue that Nintendo would do both. Nintendo would still give you the gameplay and then also have Pixar level, like a Mario Odyssey 3.
Mario Kart 8.
Mario Kart 9.
That game blew us away.
We talk about Luigi's Mansion as looking
Luigi's
like
Mansion,
an movie, but everything in Luigi's Mansion is playable. Yeah, no, I'm not against the wow factor. Ratchet and Clank looks stunning, absolutely stunning. And when you're going to be playing through, you're going to be like, "Wow, look at these stages, man! They look amazing," and that's it.
Well, I said that the gameplay was pretty lackluster in the last.
Well, yeah,
one,
that's in that, and that's actually that was my first thought when I saw the Ratchet and Clank trailer. I was like, "Oh, you can jump dimensions." I'm like, "Oh, this is just a gimmick to see the power of the SSD." Because, like, realistically, when you jump dimensions, what does that do in gameplay wise? It just changes the backgrounds. It's just changing the background scenery.
That is one argument I really don't like when people say it. Oh, Ratchet and Clank are moving through dimensions just to show the loading. Man, fucking Skyward Sword just has a fucking moving gimmick because the whole thing that's in the thing is to show off what we could do and all that shit.
I will say
exactly
that's the worst. That's the worst comparison I've ever heard in my life.
I agree.
How dare you? That is not the same thing.
I agree, Terrell, that and maybe in the example of Ratchet and Clank, it is to showcase that, but at the same time, like I said, when we were kind of debating and arguing about it, like, I don't know what developers are going to do with it, and that was something I would never even considered that being one of the uses for it. So, I mean, while it's maybe not going to make Ratchet and Clank this amazing playing game for somebody who didn't love the last one, but somebody who did, I'm sure they're pretty excited for the game.
But it's still the thing here for me, because I've talked about this before, so it's not like I'm just making this comparison now. Everybody loves Eternal Darkness on GameCube, right? Everybody loves that game, right? Eternal Darkness, For me, like the sanity meter. Everybody talks about the sanity meter. The sanity meter was cool for about, the first 3 or 4 different things, and after that, I didn't care about it. Other than the fact that I wanted to continue playing my game, so I had to bring my sanity meter up, so I didn't have all this weird shit happening. So, to me, that's what the SSD is like. It's like the sanity meter. It's like, you can do some cool stuff with it, but how deep is it really going to be at the end of the day?
Yeah, I mean,
and I think that's what Terrell's trying to say.
It could never turn out to be anything more than just jumping from one environment to the next near instantly.
Yeah, but you know what I find would be exciting? What Ubisoft was trying to do with Beyond Good and Evil 2. Like being able to traverse from the space into like that's the kind of stuff that I think the hard drive would be great for. So if you do stuff like that, then I'm going to be wowed. So
yeah, well,
we'll see.
We'll see if anybody comes up with anything beyond just loading and jumping to a new area instantly. I mean, for a horror game, it could be. Sorry to cut you off, but it could be like Silent Hill type game where you're. And maybe it was near instant. I never played a Silent Hill game, but to take you from one environment to the next, like in an instant, and it'd be not just a cinematic or something. I mean, there is some possibilities for games that could utilize that, but like I said, we'll have to. I can't really think of any uses. Maybe hopefully some
I
creative people might.
don't think we should. I don't think we should dismiss what was happening in Ratchet because like you said, we were discussing. I asked you, what you think will happen, and we didn't really know.
Mm-hmm.
So Ratchet kind of gives you a taste. Now, I thought it was really impressive how the world drags towards him because he doesn't go to the spot. He drags the whole world to him, and I thought that was really cool, and I hope that plays really well in the game.
Yeah, it could be a pretty cool gameplay mechanic.
Yeah, the game still look like Ratchet and Clank to me. I don't think that's going to, because also they had the portals there, so it looked like you could only do it in those certain instances. Whether you could put the portals there yourself or whatever, I don't know. But it still looked pretty much like Ratchet and Clank compared to if you play Mario Odyssey and then all of a sudden Cappy changes everything that you've ever done in a 3D Mario game, gameplay wise, in terms of traversal, in terms of capturing and and platforming and all this stuff.
That's a great point. That's a great point because that's what I was thinking. I was thinking it subconsciously, but I was like, because everybody's like really excited about Ratchet and Clank, but I'm like, a lot of those people I don't think play Ratchet and Clank or because the gameplay isn't all that overly exciting. So I'm like seeing him jump through worlds and stuff. That was really cool to see. But if you know Ratchet and Clank, like, okay, after I do that, I'm still gonna be playing Ratchet and Clank. As far as the gameplay goes.
So, I don't want to downplay Ratchet and Clank for the sake of it. I'm just making a point that because every console kind of has that game that's meant to show off the hardware. So I don't want to act like Ratchet and Clank.
Luigi's Mansion. I talk about that shit all the time.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't want to act like it's going to be a bad
Halo,
game or anything. I'm just saying.
Halo,
I'm just saying. First impression, looking at the foot. Hell, to be fair, when I first looked at the footage for Ratchet and Clank, I thought it was a racing game because literally he was grinding on rails for the first part of that trailer. Until we actually got
that's pretty much since the PS3 era, grinding on rails is a big thing.
Yeah, grinding on rails has always been a big thing for.
Well, here's the actual gameplay clip. I played the trailer earlier.
Insomniac love grinding rail shit. That's their thing.
I'm just saying, the I guess you could say the cynic in me was like, oh, it's just another. It's a visual gimmick, but it doesn't really change the way the game is played.
And I couldn't help but be I couldn't help but be a gameplay ass as well, because if you look at Breath of the Wild, when Link slaps a moblin with a sword from left to right, the moblin moves from left to right when he's being hit. And I was watching him, using his wrench, which is a bloody fan favorite bloody tool, in this game, and he's slapping the mobs. I'm like, they're just doing their regular animations. I pick on AAA games like this the most because these are the ones who scream and shout all this innovation, all this jiggly wiggly stuff. I keep on saying jiggly wiggly. That's a Red Knight thing, isn't it? But I scream about it all the time because this is what they trumpet on about. But don't do it. Don't do any of this stuff that we see on the Wii U.
I gotta defend Ratchet and Clank a little bit here. It's like I own most.
Oh, and I play every Ratchet and Clank game, by the way. Just throw that.
So it's like I have most of the Ratchet and Clank games, but the only one I played is the one on the PS4. So I'm basing that just off that, like when T said, after the Dimension gimmick is over, you're just left with playing Ratchet and Clank. But I love Ratchet and Clank. I like the idea of fighting a lot of enemies with this wacky ass arsenal of weapons. That to me is Ratchet and Clank, and the Dimension thing is just this really cool gimmick added on top of that. When I saw the trailer, I was like, "Oh, cool!" I'm wondering what kind of fucking weapons are gonna have, and they use that weird ass ice lance weapon thing that freezes enemies, and then you're combining that with other weapons and shit. I saw this gameplay, and I was like, "Fuck!"
But you're missing my point. Like, that's good. You're a Ratchet and Clank fan. I'm kind of a fan. I mean, I played them all. So that's cool that you like. I mean, we like the Ratchet and Clank stuff, but what I'm saying is the people that are all wild by this aren't really. I don't know them to be Ratchet and Clank fans. You know what I'm saying? So they're just wild. They're just wild
by a Ratchet and Clank fan to want to play Ratchet and Clank. I don't get the point of that. That's like,
No, they're hyping it up, guys
you
wouldn't
still
normally.
you still not getting my
still
point.
missing it. Guys
That's what
that
I'm saying.
wouldn't
I don't
play
get the
this
point.
game. He's talking about the dude bros who wouldn't normally play a game like this.
Exactly. They're
trying
playing it
to
because of the wow
hype
factor,
it up.
not because
Now they're
gameplay
trying to
is
act
good.
like they want it. They'll play it because it
visually
the best
looks good.
looking, pretty much one of the, if not the best looking game shown.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's not that the gameplay is bad.
That's
by
what
any
he's
means.
saying. It's
the point is that there's a bunch of people who looked at it and said, people who wouldn't normally play Ratchet and Clank said,
I
just
didn't
look at the
get that
visuals.
part.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I gotta.
that's what I'm
Are these the same people who used to hate on Animal Crossing? You know, it's you know, you can look at it like that.
I gotta say,
Well,
Collected, I disagree because I'm so used to games. It must be just a lot of action games where characters have super armor and don't even react at all to hits and being shot and stuff.
Yeah.
I at least like to see that they're getting pushed back with bullet fire and with getting hits. Maybe not Ratchet and Clank. I don't know about the old games, but there's a lot of games these days where you attack enemies and they don't even react to your hit. So at least they react.
All the time.
So because that's one of my biggest pet peeves is especially in like action games, like, you know, play Devil May Cry 5, or I can't think what is the other one I was just playing and I was thinking that not that long ago, and I'm just like, I'm hitting this I'm hitting this person constantly, and they just go right through their animations, and just it doesn't matter what I do to them, they're just invincible. I mean, they're taking damage, but it doesn't slow them down, and they just.
It's why I hated Gears of War, because you shoot the guys in Gears of War, you see splatters of blood no matter where you put
Yeah, they just keep coming.
One of the earliest videos I've done, I use really specific footage for this. When I played Deus Ex Mankind Divided, and I was shooting these guys in the leg. I was like, look at this guy. You shoot him in the leg. Right? He's a bionicle type of guy. No bits of metal break off him. And he's standing there, and his foot was just twitching. And he's still shooting me like never was happening. I showed it in the Tomb Raider reboot as well. I was like, here you go. I'll shoot this guy with an arrow in the leg. He limps behind cover. Right? He's like, oh, my leg. Limps behind cover, and then comes back fully healed.
That's an Uncharted shit too.
Uncharted bullet sponges.
So,
Well, that's also fucking Spider-Man when you swing, you
Oh, yeah.
in the air 20 times, and then you throw them to the ground, and they get up. They're like, no, no, and they're like, whoa, dude.
that's what I mean. Would you not like to see? This is why Breath of the Wild, games like that, wow us so much, because it's just doing stuff that we always knew was possible, but games went in a different direction, where they just like, as long as it looks amazing, we can skip all this stuff. It was like GoldenEye. You have about GoldenEye. You shoot him in the ass. They're like, oh, my ass cheeks, man. How many games do that now? You shoot him in the crack of the ass. How many people grab their bum cheeks and jump up and down in games?
Yeah, I don't know. That's true.
I'm curious now, because I swear there's some moblin attacks in Breath of the Wild where they'll hit you no matter what. Unless you hit them with like a big attack, it won't interrupt their big swing or something. It's not the common thing, but
they got strong armor attacks. But your normal attacks, you chuck on Breath of the Wild now, run up to a moblin with a sword or stick, slap the shit out of him, and his head will go from left to right, whichever way the sword is swinging.
And also one thing I want to say.
man, we've only gotten to like two games.
I did want real quick. I'll let Robert say something. But I want to just quickly say, you know what game I was surprised that wasn't confirmed to be a release game? Gran Turismo 7.
Yeah,
right?
That's been a surprise too.
That was such a weird, because they showed gameplay and everything, and I'm like, really, Gran Turismo doesn't even have a date? That just seems really off to me. Especially because it's one of those games, like, I don't remember when the last Gran Turismo game was. So they've had enough time.
The last numbered one was PS3.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, why isn't that just already confirmed? Especially if you got Holiday for fucking miles. I don't know. It's just weird. But go ahead, Robert.
No, I was gonna say that also, to be fair, the whole shifting between planes of the world and Ratchet reminds me a lot. I just want to say it's completely new when we had like Portal. I mean, Portal, literally you could go from one end to another of different buildings and shit. And
well, you stayed in the same room, but
also even but I mean, you're not going to a different. I'm not talking about the dimension. I'm talking about the gameplay mechanic for Ratchet when he just kind of shifts between, like, he kind of grabs. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, he's like pulling kind of
yeah,
him.
That. And then also there's another one that again, it's smaller scale, but it's not it was an indie game. Technically, it was a Layers of Fear, this horror game, where literally you could be in a completely enclosed area, then you could turn around, and then there's a whole other thing that just opened up, like from your, and then you could turn around again, and the closed door is now a hallway to a different thing. Like it's changing every time you look around, and that was running on Switch, and I just feel like obviously it's not to that crazy degree, but it's not like so crazy to think that someone like Insomniac could pull off something like this. That's like it's cool, but it's not mind boggling. I don't know. Like I just feel like with certain things like Portal and Layers of Fear, and a small developer, that of course they could do something like that that's even bigger. I don't know. I just thought I'd bring
I
it
don't
up.
know that Layers of Fear, but I know Portal. All you're doing is just you stay in the same exact room, so it's not like you're going into a completely different environment.
I mean, yeah, but I'm talking about, again, in terms of the gameplay mechanic. You know what I'm saying? Like I know. Like,
oh yeah, from a gameplay mechanic, that's something like that's been done, just not quite that visual style.
Yeah.
I think it's just the design of it, where that's all it is that what's so cool looking about it. Like
And,
just actually, grappling to it. I don't think that's anything crazy. I'm sure it's just like.
But it looked like it could be.
Portal's a great example.
If they use it correctly, it could actually be a decent. It could be a decent strategic thing in a different game. I don't think Ratchet and Clank's gonna have that level of depth, because the last one didn't, as far as from a gameplay standpoint. Yeah. To like be able to do.
Juice really liked that game, by the
way. And that was what that was $40 when it launched, and I think it was $20 pretty much right after that, and it stayed at $20. So I'm wondering if this can be a full-fledged. They said it's a full deep adventure, so I'm guessing it's gonna be a $60.
I would think so, because to be fair, the other one was a remake.
Yeah.
In like a fully.
But man, this Kana Bridge of Spirits looks damn good.
I can't wait to play that on PC. What?
Well, you got a graphics
PS4?
card. Well, it's the minimum requirements are pretty low, but I think if you want it to look like what they showed here,
that's just another thing that kind of got on my nerves. I think
Terrell, you're lucky that you have a more up to date graphics card, because
I realistically think as the gens go forward, you're gonna get more and more people start migrating to PC. Because realistically, one of the things that I didn't notice.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't annoyed with the presentation. Like I was pretty down on it, and then all the information for each of the games started coming out. I'm like, oh, well, this one's on PC, and this one's cross-platform, and this one's a multi-plat. And I'm like, so how many of these games, even the games I'm interested in, I don't have to own a PlayStation 5 to play them. So what the hell did this event?
Yeah,
really do?
The bigger thing is that this is the last generation for physical releases.
I'm sure.
Coming up
probably, yeah.
It's going to be over after this.
So fucking depressing.
And so when that happens, like all that, kind of loyalty and brand feel you have for a lot of games is going to go away, because it's all going to be digital. At that point, why wouldn't you just get a PC? Especially on the Xbox side.
I think that's something to bring up, actually, the fact that it's an important, part that Sony showed a all digital console. An actual console.
And
it's scary. It's very scary. And
this is it. That just shows me that this is it. Last gen for physical release.
Unless that thing sells worth of shit, because like what Robert pointed out was something I didn't even think about yet. Is that they're promoting the 4K Blu-ray thing, but you can't fucking use the 4K Bluray thing if there's no fucking thing to put the disc in.
Well, the sad thing is,
so if this thing doesn't sell the digital one, we're gonna get
there's digital Blu-rays as well. There's a way to play your digital copies and all that.
I will say, as somebody who's the one thing I do care about is collecting physical movies, and there's a reason for that. Maybe there is, but there's no common utilization of like downloading movies so you can get the full quality, because you download a game, you're still getting the full quality. You're not streaming the game, like unless you're playing PlayStation Now or unless you're Stadia. There is a huge difference, and if anybody lived anywhere near me, I'd prove it to you, because I was on HBO Max on the Xbox One S, and my buddy had it and gave me his password, so I put Aquaman on, and supposedly Dolby Atmos, 4K. And I played that, and HBO doesn't have the best. Their streaming quality.
It doesn't look that great to begin with. No.
And I'm like, this sounds all right. It looks a little, a little washed out, I guess. And it's like, let me put the Blu-ray disc in. I'm not even joking. It was volume-wise, you can volume match and everything, but just the dynamic range, like going from loud to quiet. I mean, it was at least, I would say, at least twice as good straight off the Blu-ray. The video quality was significantly better. Colors, everything popped better, had better depth. Streaming for movies, you don't have that option to just download the full file, and that's something that I wish, if they're going to get rid of. And 4K Blu-rays aren't doing that well. They're not selling huge numbers, so that format's not even going to probably, because there's still there's places that are just still going back to DVD. They're getting rid of Blu-ray. They don't even get the Blu-ray copies anymore. Walmart went mostly back to DVDs in my area.
That's
and
madness.
It's ridiculous because DVDs or Blu-rays are so cheap now. Like, you find Blu-ray movies all over for $5-10, some good movies. So the fact that, for me, I'm less worried about gaming because at least you get the full file. You're not sacrificing anything by but I do all the digital codes. Every time I buy a game, I put it on, all Movies Anywhere or whatever, Voodoo movies, and I have a big collection of these digital movies, and it's just not.
I'm not as worried. I'm not as worried for movies going away physically, Juice, for a lot of the reasons you pointed out. But to me, it's almost like vinyl. There's still vinyls being made. Mm-hmm. Because there's still a big enough audience with people who want that physical, although that not just physical, but that version of their music. So I'm not as worried for movies because there's a lot more logistics, like you just said. The quality is different and all that stuff.
Yeah, if they had a way where you could download it, but then they're worried about people just copying it and giving it to their friends, right. So it's different. It's a little bit different than gaming, So, I don't need all these movie plastic discs and cases. If I could just get them, you have to have a massive hard drive. Same with gaming, I guess.
Well, there's another side to that, though. If you don't have that physical movie or whatever, what happens when somebody like George Lucas wants to come along and change every goddamn thing in the movie, and it's almost a different movie from
the one you watch? Update, or do you have to?
Right, and you have to deal with that. Or what happened with Gone with the Wind recently, where they took it down. What was it? HBO Max took down Gone with the Wind because they want to put up a disclaimer saying, "Hey, things were racist back then." Yeah. By the way, we all know that. I don't know what. So I don't know what the point of that shit is, but
that's what they call.
That's when it's going overboard with this stuff.
Yeah, you can't change. You can't change history of a movie that was.
No, it's history.
Took place in its time. Yeah, it's.
But they're putting it back up. But they said they're going to put it up with a disclaimer, which I don't. Or do you think people are stupid? We don't know.
That's going too far. It's like
it's stupid.
No, we don't get into that.
We won't get into that. But I'm just saying, I'm not as worried for movies and music as I am for video games. Video games, I think, are a lot closer to being.
I think video games are closer. I'm more okay with it because of the fact that you can download and you're not sacrificing. I don't think if you're.
No. What I meant is that I'm not worried as far as them losing physically.
Yeah, I get you. I just
games
wish
games they want to do that because they have all the control. The companies have all the control at that point. Oh, you can't buy used games anymore. You're gonna have to buy directly from us. Mm-hmm. We don't have to deal with shipping them to stores. We have complete control. Oh, we can take that game down, if we want to, and make you buy the next version of it. So that's why they want that.
That's another podcast video discussion right there. So, we won't have time for questions, unfortunately. And we didn't. There's so many games we didn't talk about, so many things we didn't talk about. But I guess
a few minutes left on it.
The highlights for me was Kana, and depends on if that comes to PS4 in a timely fashion. Then I wouldn't be worried. But if that was a PS5 exclusive, even though I have a PC, I'm at the point now. I've been pretty lucky for 7 years now. I've had a PC that was on par or better than current generation, and come November, that's if I don't upgrade, I'm gonna be behind the ball again, which I was for many years before that. And so I mean, a game like that, if that was PS5 and PC, no PS4, that would entice me. If that was, let's say it came out in February 2021 or something, a game like that would get me considering, So it's kind of a bummer. And I'd love to know what the backwards compatibility thing is, like if they got that figured out, because that'd be, let's say I bought it physically on the PS4, play it on the Pro, and then the PS5 gets a price drop or something. I'd like to know that it just would be a seamless, and I'd get the benefits. That's stuff they need to clear up. So, but that was definitely the best, most exciting game for me. Just more interesting. Love the art style, and the gameplay looks pretty cool. Hopefully they can pull it off, because it looks like just a small team making it. Other than that, the Stray game, I mean, I didn't play that trailer. I don't know what any of that was actual in game. That has that art style. If that's like what the in game is gonna look like as far as the art direction, which I think it probably will. I loved everything on, like, to me that was probably the best.
It looked in game to me.
That's probably the best looking overall.
Yeah, sure.
The best looking game from the thing. I love this. I don't know what you call it. It's like cyber.
All right,
punkish,
cat lover, get at it.
But
And you know what? That cat looks as good as the in Captain Marvel, or the Captain Marvel cat.
cat's almost as cute as my cat. But I don't
Bring you
know.
to tears.
There's
Bring you
something
to
about
tears.
the robot humans and the neon light, like the different colored lights and stuff, and the environments. Just, I hope it's interesting gameplay wise, but that one's intriguing.
Interesting story. Why is there robots everywhere? Post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, so
What's
this
going
this
on?
is one where you don't show, like, from the gameplay perspective, but you still got me intrigued, at least, and I think other people were seeming pretty
for sure.
intrigued. And maybe it is a good way to kind of get people whet their appetites, and then whatever the game is, hopefully it's not like a completely like top down, zoomed out, like you just weird random type game where it's like, I don't know.
Or Untitled Goose Game, where it's like 2 hours.
Yeah, so those are probably the two games that stood out the most from just visual style, and I don't know. I guess the trying to think. I'll just stick with those two. So clocked it. I know you said you didn't love a lot about it. You mentioned Kana was there, and Stray. Anything else? Any other games? Even though if it's something PS4 related, something you'd buy in the PS4, maybe not.
Yeah, I went crazy hyped for Oddworld when it first appeared, because I'd completely forgotten about Soulstorm, and Soulstorm is essentially a remake of Abe's Exodus on the PlayStation 1, and I love my Oddworld series, and I completely forgot about it. I was like, wow, a new Oddworld game, yes, and then I remembered what it was, and my hype just tumbled into like the abyss. Not because I hated on the game. I thought this was going to finally be the first fully brand new Oddworld game that we've had since the original Xbox. That's the last time we had a brand new Oddworld.
That's crazy.
Which, Stranger's Wrath was the last one, and the original Oddworld game. So
Coming out on Switch pretty soon here.
Yeah, but Soulstorm's coming on PS4.
I thought it was already out.
So
Oh, maybe it is out. I
I'll
don't
get
know.
that. And two other games, Solar Ash, from the Hyperlight Drifter devs, which we already knew about. I actually forgot about it, so seeing it again, I got crazy hyped. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Solar Ash. And Little Devil Inside. The art style looks
that made me chuckle.
It looks art style looks amazing, and it looks fun. So I just need to see more of that. But yeah,
that actually showed a couple decent segments of what looks like you're controlling the character. Actual gameplay.
There's games of interest. Of course. I don't hate video games. We still love.
Was that a Wii U game at one point? I heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone said that. Yeah, Kickstarter, which is crazy.
God damn.
Wii U still getting trashed, But like I said, there's still, you're still gonna enjoy the look of games. I'm not hating video games. I'm just, like I said, there was an element of this PS5 reveal event that was greatly missing for me. So, which it turns out to be, my version of what video gaming is about. So that was it. But yeah.
All right, Robert, what was your standouts? I think you already said them, but
yeah, I mean, Ratchet, Sackboy. I like Kina, looks great,
and I won't play the Sackboy trailer because they did that
Oh,
song,
yeah.
that song that plays on there. They copyrighted me, and then I just
Resident Evil also.
I disputed it, but
copyrighted
they
my
pulled the
ass.
video, and then it
Dude,
it didn't take long. They're like, oh yeah, that's fair use. We didn't even get, it said didn't even get with the copyright owner. Just this is obvious fair use, and put it back up.
Resident Evil,
Capcom
with they bitch assery.
My one disappointment is that they showed off in the beginning. You know, they showed it before Grand Theft fucking Auto. They showed all the PS4 games or whatever. I guess it was funny because they were talking about let's go back, and all they went back was PS4.
He said 25 years, didn't he? And also it was PS4 games.
25 years, and all they showed was PS4 games. And you know, they showed every fucking thing except.
Is there gonna be a tearaway thing again?
Yep, exactly. Let me speak my tearaway.
Well, let's talk.
Dude, everything. I mean, they even showed God of War 3 remastered. But
I think they probably meant to do that, and then they didn't have enough time or something.
I think they just
they left the audio in for the 25 years, but they forgot to put the actual video in.
Yeah.
They cut out all those weird sequences of the PlayStation logo. They would have had enough time.
I was like, damn,
like an asshole.
Yeah, I didn't mind those transitions, honestly.
I hated those transitions.
Each time I was like, all right, is this going to be the console? No, it's just more X's and circles.
Yeah,
I thought,
exactly.
I didn't mind it.
It got progressively more annoying as they went on.
It's like they're smelling their own farts at this point.
Yeah,
I
could have be more fancy than what it actually is.
Like they just kept, you know, I don't know. But regardless, if they're going to be all about, oh, look at all we did on PS4, you had one of your best games you didn't show. My God. God damn it.
Oh wait, we forgot to talk about. I watched a live reaction on Easy Allies. I didn't know every single gamer on YouTube was fucking Demon Souls fanatic. Like, people reacting to this Demon Souls. I see they're clapping, they're like standing up. I'm like, it's fucking no one. This game was like, it was laid the groundwork for what Dark Souls became, but it was definitely the worst of all.
It didn't age well.
It's the first one.
I hate that out of nowhere you're starting this point because Demon Souls is one of my 3 actually highlights. I don't like Dark Souls. Dark Souls is dodge rolly bullshit. Demon Souls, it laid the groundwork, but it did it better because Demon Souls plays faster than Dark Souls. It just plays better, in my opinion. So I'm actually fucking excited for a complete remake of Demon Souls because it's a superior game to me.
You know what's funny? This hasn't happened for me yet. You know, so far all these games are always new, but it will be interesting when I see, you know, games that I've played over the time and I see remakes. I just don't give a fuck. I don't know, like you know, like it's gonna be interesting to see when, you know, they get a remake of, I don't know, any
Super Mario Galaxy.
Yeah, like when this is supposed Galaxy thing will come out, and I just don't give a fuck because I played the game already. It blows my mind how people want to have the
let
same.
me say that it was a pretty early PS3 game, and it definitely could use. They couldn't just. They'd have to do a lot of work to remaster it. You know,
I've seen the screenshot comparisons already. So it's a fucking full up remake.
It's good for me.
It was
it is a remake. Yeah, you can tell that.
I hope so.
Yeah, I'm saying like if they just remastered it, they'd have to redo every texture anyway.
No, they added so much shit to it.
Well, that's why, like, I'm personally, hey, like, I'm looking forward to it. You know what I'm saying? But I find it. I don't know. Like, I think we just have different things. Like, I just don't.
Let's wrap this up.
It was good reveal for PlayStation considering the history of that game. So I was kind of like, oh, that's a cool thing for PlayStation. I just couldn't give a fuck less.
It seems like everybody's all of a sudden like everybody's a fan of the Dark Souls franchise. I don't know.
Well, to be fair, that you know, Demon Souls. If you've been in those circles, it is always spoken about. I own Demon Souls. I never completed it. It was hard as shit. I kind of, you know, disagree with Retro. He prefers that style. I prefer the Bloodborne style. You know, and the Dark Souls style. But you know, to be fair, like I said, people do talk Demon Souls. So the people who are probably coming out of the woodworks now are those people who have been begging for a remake, and a lot of people have. So. And
I would say if you're gonna remake a game 2 generations later, like it should be this massive of a jump. You know, like sometimes you don't always see it quite to this level. You know, so I'll give them credit there. It looks like they're definitely going all in. And I'll be curious if they're going to continue their $40 price point for remakes and stuff, or is this going to?
I think that's 60.
Are they going to start going to 60? Because this generation,
this is going to be 60 all day.
But all right, highlights, Terrell.
I only got a couple. I think Little Devil Inside, I think, was mentioned. Kina, I think, looks good, and
no RPGs shown, right?
Yeah. No. So like, my interest was already.
That's why Lightning hated it.
No, really, if you because I never really gave a number. If I had to rank it, I probably gave it like a 5. I think the only reason why I even gave it that much was because it was a good variety of games, but like there's just too much side shit about it that aggravated the fuck out of me. But yeah, I think it's only like 2 games I really care about buying. Everything else was just cool.
They'll get RPGs, but they definitely didn't show any. And
yeah,
I kind of feel like as somebody who doesn't love RPGs, I feel like Nintendo's the Switch is getting a little bit oversaturated.
Where's the life set, yo? Where's the Animal Crossing?
But I will say the other thing too, Clock, that we're challenged when we were talking about variety. One thing we didn't see, and some games there wasn't shown gameplay. We didn't see an over the shoulder, like older white guy or older dude with the AI companion games. They didn't show anything like that. That's because
those developers are still making games.
Yeah, they don't have any games ready. But that was one thing.
Yeah, that's literally that's the only reason why I think it's.
That was a nice thing to not be seen for me. I thought that.
Oh, you'll see it next year.
All right, T, did you give your highlights?
Yeah, Ratchet.
Exactly.
What was it? Xena?
Kana?
Kana. Yeah, that was cool.
The Warrior Princess.
Look at this high quality games. We've all picked the same games almost.
It's pretty much what you guys said.
Well, Nintendo fan. I think we all have similar tastes as far as like.
I think we like that kitty shit. So.
Mm-hmm.
We like those Tinky Winkies.
Those Pinky Winky ass.
I grew up. Nintendo didn't grow up with me, man.
The worst line ever said in gaming, bro.
Facts.
Nintendo didn't grow up with me.
All right. Any other highlight? Anybody? Did we forget something?
Mine was simple. Like I said,
huh?
Goodbye Volcano High. Remember that?
No.
That's the dinosaur one where they're like in high school or something.
Oh, that's stupid.
Volcano
High.
That's cool.
I think I tuned that one out.
I don't know what the game's about.
I think I talked over that one.
Nobody cares.
People are
What
about Bug Snack? That looked fun.
Yes. Hey man,
really
I think
basic. That's my problem.
Your own zoo or something, and
I'd be shocked if that isn't a PS4 game too.
Yeah.
No, it is.
I'm sure. Well, I'm sure it's coming to Switch also.
Dude, that can be on the fucking Wii.
It's such a basic ass game.
You're right.
Game. It's a not a demanding art style.
I'm torn because I'm on one hand I'm like, well, why are we showing that at the initial PS5 reel? But at the other hand, I like that they gave a game like that a shout out.
So they can show people and tell them, shut the fuck up about your graphics. That's what I took it as. And that's what I want it to be known as. Same with the book.
Robert, what did you give did you finish your highlights? Sorry,
I don't know. I keep bringing up too many highlights. I don't know.
All right, so the interesting thing is, I thought I saw that the Xbox got pushed to August. There was going to be their July show.
I'd heard that too.
Is that confirmed?
I don't know if it's confirmed, but I have heard it.
I thought I saw that online, but maybe I'm wrong. That's unfortunate, though. That's very unfortunate.
Yeah, because they've seen what their format was and stuff, and they'll listen to hear what people good and bad, and I really hope that they have some amazing shit to show. And is it like, I'm torn too. I'm not quite like Robert. I kind of want to see what's coming 2020, late 2021, early 2022. I want to know what's possible.
I don't mind seeing what they are. I just want to know if that is 2021.
Yeah,
they don't have a year is what I'm saying.
Real quick. I do want to. I want to quickly throw this out real quick. Worst fucking game in the event next to the GTA was that fucking Hitman 3 trailer. Only because they put out the trailer and then they go, "We're gonna show you some gameplay of Hitman 3," and then proceeded to show me another fucking trailer.
Yeah,
it's fucking stupid. All right,
what
go
about
ahead.
NBA though? Fucking, it's a solo player. He just dunks and then they ended it. What was that about?
At least they didn't lie to me. At least they didn't lie to me, and that was
I don't know,
supposedly
man. I
in-game.
think they lied. They said, "Here's a."
Also, that was supposedly in game though.
Oh, what the guy? The
The NBA, yeah, that wasn't a real person. That was the game.
Oh,
no, not when he was talking.
Oh, you didn't know that?
What?
You guys fucking with him?
Did that? No,
What?
that's actually the game.
When he's talking?
No, What? I'm confused. No, but that's you're not playing one versus the basketball hoop. It's a fucking NBA. Why did they not show it?
Oh, I thought you were saying the intro guy.
I'm just saying the engine. I'm just saying at least that was in engine. My issue with Hitman was literally just a trailer and then lied to you about showing you gameplay.
Well, it was.
Actually,
I think it went
the
from
same issue. Assassin's Creed.
It went from CGI to in-game cinematics.
Yeah, don't you care about how much you sweat when you're at that high angle when you're playing the video game?
Why the fuck are you sweating that much, too?
I don't know, Poop. The sweat like stands out way too much.
It's
man.
a little ridiculous. Remember the sweat? Was that PS2 generation or PS3 generation where the sweat started? I think it was 360 PS3 generation. Where that was the big thing.
Like,
I didn't think we were
every player doesn't sweat like Shaq. Like we don't.
You don't know that.
But remember, that's been a thing for over two generations now. They're still going with the sweat. But anyway,
that still works for some reason.
I seen the Xbox. That was false. It's still on track for July. So.
Okay. All right.
Cool.
I mean, I want to be wowed. I wanted to be wowed.
Me too.
I wasn't trying to be sold on the PS5 personally because, like I said, I've never bought a Sony system at launch. I wasn't planning on buying this one, but I hope Xbox can.
I never have a reason to
have something because they've had a pretty bad generation and they haven't really released anything of note in a while. So I kind of expect them to have something. So, but we got 2 months or a month and a half, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we better.
Oops.
Get out of here, Clock. Did you have something?
I'm gonna get you copyright.
No. So we don't want to go into Xbox talk now. So no, I'm done.
He's already depressed enough from all the video
Clock
games.
is done with his depression right
Hopefully,
now.
hopefully they learn.
He's like, fuck video games, man.
The future of gaming is here.
So it's getting really hot in my damn computer room. So I got to wrap this up anyway. I'm starting to sweat like that basketball player. So. So anyway, thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll get to the questions next week, I'm sure. That I don't expect.
Sure.
Who knows what Nintendo could drop a stealth direct. We don't know, but maybe there's an update tonight too we can talk about.
I got to take the Browns to the Super Bowl. Let's hurry this up.
All right, guys. We'll see you next